down, forming theories, just kind of analyzing the Kombat Pack 2 teaser image that Ed Boon just posted today. So we're going to see if we can try and see anything here. So bear with us, and I'm going to try and play with it in Photoshop and see if I can maybe lighten or enhance the image in any way. Probably not, because I'm assuming they're smart enough to check for that type of thing. I mean, this isn't 2001 when we could still do something like that and get away with it, but I don't know. Let's see. Any theories on the left guy so far?
Man, I'm scared to say it, dude. Alright,
I'm gonna see.
I want to say Smoke or Noob. I especially want to say Smoke because I could kind of project the Revenant Smoke into that silhouette pretty easily. The arm guards look right, but it also reminds me a lot of MK Deception Noob. It's a ninja. That much is probably clear. Or
Alright, well here, actually this helps a lot, this brightening it up. It makes the silhouettes more defined if you can see this.
Alright,
if you want to go to the stream here. Because it makes the silhouettes way more defined, and it's making the smoke around it really...
Well, when you put it like that,
yeah, that helped a lot.
It was covered by smoke, so that's nothing special. Like I was saying, Praetor said one of these guys is going to be Fujin. That's...
Yeah, I think we're all...
8% given.
Right, yeah, I think we're all under the impression that one of them will indeed be Fujin. I'm almost positive one's a Cyborg. Because, I mean, those are the two rumored. So we're going off pure rumors, say, Sector and Fujin, from people in the know. So, I mean, take that for what it is. We don't know. Nobody knows. Even the people that do have reputable sources could have been misled or could have been wrong or had outdated information. We don't know. Or it could just not be all information. Like Sector could be Cyrex as well and blah, 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 like we talked on the last Netherkast. Alright, but are you seeing the enhanced image right now? Or the more brightened? Okay, so on the left side over here, the one that you're saying is Smoke, he's definitely got a flat, like a very smooth bald head with a jettisoning out mask where you would normally see a ninja mask. So that leads me to believe that you're probably onto something. That's either Baraka or that's a ninja. That's the only two options, because you even see...
Baraka's true, yeah.
Is if you go full screen on your screen, and I'm using my mouse here to kind of point to where I'm thinking, right here you can definitely see the ninja flap part of like where the V would be, but Baraka has the same thing, so that's hard to narrow down as well. But he definitely
has that too.
Yeah, I don't see this one being Fujin as much, because he clearly has just like a dome-shaped head, completely, smooth. I don't think that's the one that would be Fujin. But yeah, he definitely has the arm guards, and he has... Not only does he have the arm guards on the upper arm, he also has the forearm guards, as you can see, because it kind of jettisons out down here, too.
I'm getting pictures of Baraka and MKX. I'm trying to see...
Because he's big and bulky. He's definitely bigger... I mean, it's hard to tell because he is in the forefront, whereas the rest, other than the guy on the very right, the guy on the very right has to be Bo.
I don't even know what to think of the guy on the very right. He's wearing a fucking turtleneck.
He's big. He's like rotund. Look at him.
Oh, now you brighten it up, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't notice that before, but now that it's more brightened, he definitely has a belly, and if you look at his head, that totally looks like a guy that could have a ponytail coming back, kind of like he did in story mode. He has a smaller beard with the ponytail in the back. He has the big... His clothing on top looks very baggy, so it's not form-fitting. And then his belly... Because you can't see where the smoke is. You can't see a break between his arm and his, the background and his belly or anything. But he looks... Just comparing the right figure to the left figure, his torso looks way thicker. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, when it was darkened, like, all I could see was everything from, like, the ribs and up.
Right.
And the head, I see what you're saying with a ponytail, but the head looks overall just too small in general. Like, the head doesn't even look right. Like, even with the rotund belly, it still looks strange. I think Bo Rai Cho is not just the best candidate, but really the only candidate.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about yesterday, that would make me kind of... Bo Rai Cho's hard. He's a tough one for me.
Yeah. So, if we're led to believe that's Bo, which I'm almost... I'd say I'm 80, 90% confident that's Bo. I mean, nothing's for sure here. Because, I mean, obviously, it is just a silhouette. It could be anything. Anything at a weird angle could look completely different than what you would expect. If that's Bo, this is either Baraka or a ninja. The one over here, the one that's next to what we think is Bo, totally looks like a cyborg. Are we in agreement there? His helmet looks... I mean, not just looks like a helmet.
That's a loaded question.
Doesn't this just look like a helmet right here? It's... I mean, what other... That doesn't look like a mask, because his whole head is like that, where it starts at the neck. He's very bulky. He has the shoulder things as well. So, it's either a ninja or a cyborg, and I would say cyborg because the...
Tor was saying Fujin.
Well, then, that's what this would have to be. The one that's in between the cyborg and Baraka / ninja. I think that's got to be that totally looks like a classic cyborg mask, if you ask me. That looks like an MK3 era mask.
I agree.
Or it could... I'm trying... You almost can kind of make out the
blank mouth with the eyes.
The bucktooth mask that Sector had. But that might be a bit of a stretch.
Okay, well, like I said, Praetor was saying it's probably Fujin. I think it could be either. Actually, believe it or not, rooting for a cyborg.
You're saying he said that specific silhouette was probably Fujin?
Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
Okay.
And the one in the middle left, Razor was saying Alien.
The head is definitely oblong there, so let's see if we can distort this even more.
When I first saw it, I thought, like, is Shinnok going to be DLC again? Like, how does that work? Like, because it looks like Shinnok to me. He's got the sort of like the expanding head thing, you know?
Yeah.
But if you hunch an alien over just right, it actually works. I feel like I can almost see teeth. But I don't know how much of that is me and how much of that is the...
I see what you're saying. Right here. Right? Wait for it to update. Because it looks just like right here might be the teeth, the mouth.
Dude, that looks like teeth to me, man.
Yeah, like if you follow...
I can see more head. Like, it looks like the head's
going back. Right here. If you follow the mouse, it goes up and around like that. It looks like it goes totally... in a cone shape, kind of like up into the back like aliens' heads are. The only thing that's difficult is the body is totally just one thick silhouette. It's one thick shape, so... But I'm led to believe that's totally alien.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm disappointed, but I have a question. So you're saying there was a cyborg. You're talking about the one in the middle right.
Yeah, the middle right.
Now that you've brightened up, the one in the far right looks like Sector to me. Like, look at the head. It looks like Sector in robes.
Ah.
I feel like I can even see the contour of the middle of his helmet in the middle. I don't know. What are you getting from that? Would Sector wear robes?
I just feel like... I don't know. I don't really see the head shape, I guess. The middle on the right, so much to me, that looks so much like a cyborg mask. The shape of the mask itself totally jettisons out, like, to a point. You go up, you have the two little hose-looking things, then you keep going. It comes in just a tad bit, and then it goes up and around. That's totally the cyborg shape. Let me pull something up here. I don't know what the hell that was. Gonna Google the cyborg mask. Let's see. RX mask MK3. See if I can get a straight-on shot of it. Alright, this is probably... Okay. Here, perfect. The one from the movie is pretty good example. Alright, so I'm going to copy this. Actually, save it. Alright, I can get rid of the copy. Let's see. Edit and paste it into here.
The alien is just so weird to look at now because
it's totally alien. I
can't
the head
think keeps going. Like,
yeah.
The head doesn't stop. It just looks that way because it's darkened, but it's...
The body, the only thing that throws me off is the body is one big shape, but that, I mean, that's going to make sense. It's going to be
he's
a giant...
hunching over. That's why the shoulders aren't raised like they're normally supposed to be for
right.
alien. Like,
yeah.
If he's hunching forward, that makes perfect sense. And
it's going to make, yeah, definitely a big, giant-ass body-looking thing. It's alright. I don't know. Hopefully you can see this. Let's see.
Oh, wow. Okay, now I see it.
Okay. So it has kind of that similar thinner neck, goes up, and then the two hoses kind of comes in a little bit, and then the little squared off top or the circular top. That to me just totally says cyborg mask. And if everyone keeps saying Sector that actually knows something, then I wouldn't even say that's Cyrax. It's probably going to be Sector if I had to guess.
Yeah, I still think it's ambiguous. I see exactly what you're talking about, but it's not like Alien where I can actually see like lines and vents in the mask. It looks like what I'm seeing on the side could also be ears with hair above them. That's
right.
Because it looks like it could be hair pulled back, or it could be Cyrax, Sector, or something of that nature. I mean...
The mask does look... Here, let's pull up Sector's mask from MKX, because you would think if they're going to keep the cyborgs around, they would at least keep the mask structure that they established in MKX, so they made them different. So let's take a look at Sector's MK9 mask once again. So unless he just... Okay, apparently searching Sector mask just pulls up a bunch of Scorpion masks. That's good.
And the parts that look like, because like I said, I still contend that the one on the far right looks like a cyborg head, but that could be beard or hair that's in the back that's giving that illusion.
Yeah.
It's probably not Fat Sector in a robe, but
let's see.
I don't know, it's hard to say, man.
Okay, here we go. Here's a good image. Paste that in here. Get rid of all the white. Let's see. We can't see if there's shoulder guards on that one because it kind of... That's where the other character comes into play. Scale it down here.
It looks like there isn't. Like, I'm looking at the right shoulder outright.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything. In theory, it should be exposed. Because the Bo Rai Cho looking one is, I think, there's enough of a space in between them, but it's hard to tell. Plus, this is Sector. He can upgrade at any time.
Right.
Anytime.
Right. I guess I was mainly... The difference between Sector's mask and Cyrax's mask is, though, if you notice on Sector's mask, it's all one shape. But then again, I guess you could maybe make a reasoning for it going down like this side and then smoothing in here, but Cyrax's mask has a more distinct... It looks more like a distinct helmet, whereas Sector's kind of goes over like a full-on face. if that makes any sense. But it
Yeah.
keeps going down to where his basically his collarbones would be. That's pretty much where his mask keeps going down. Whereas Cyrax is more form fitting to where his jawline would be, and then it pulls in. So I don't know. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you could always get a new mask. It's not like that's definitive of any proof that it would be Cyrax, but
It's
I don't know.
partially, I don't want to say partially definitive, but partially evidence, because if you look at the MKX story mode, if you look at Sector's head, it's exact. There's
Right.
no difference.
It's true.
But then again, like, Goro got his arms ripped off, and he's like A-OK in the fucking game, so who knows, man.
Yeah. Man. I'm still stumped by this one on the left. Because... Okay, let's just hypothetical here. Say the one on the right is Bo, which... I'm gonna pull up a picture of Bo as well, because I feel like he looks exactly like he does in the MKX story mode, because he slimmed down a little bit in this game, so he wasn't as big as he was in the previous game, and that's why it just led me to believe that that's what he. It looks very much like a slimmed down Bo Rai Cho from like the story. All right, I got a decent picture here.
Well, it's kind of weird with how they designed Bo Rai Cho. His body is slimmer, but his neck is fatter. I don't know how they did that, but his neck looks like an elephant's leg. Like, it's really obnoxious looking.
Yeah.
And I don't get that from the silhouette. The head looks really small. I'm just gonna say, I don't think it's Bo Rai Cho, dude. I don't think it's Sector. Like, I think that's kind of far out, but I don't think it's Bo Rai Cho. I'd be very surprised.
So who would your pick to be on the right there? I mean, it could be Sector. I mean, it is big. That would just make me wonder who the one on the middle on the right was. I mean, if that's Fujin, why is his face like that? Is he wearing a mask? Because that jettisons out, like, right at the jawline, it completely goes out. So unless he has a bulbous head and it looks very smooth on top, and it has kind of like, it even has ridges on the right where the hoses would be for a cyborg.
But I feel like I can see a hairline for the one in the middle right. I feel like you can almost see like where the forehead meets the hair.
Yeah, maybe that is hair. Yeah, it's tough.
But honestly, that head looks like a cyborg head on the right. I get it's so deceiving because the body looks so much like Bo Rai Cho, but the head and especially the neck looks too far. It honestly looks more like Shujinko than it does Bo Rai Cho, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing. I'll pull up Bo Rai Cho's thing here.
Is it possible the dimensions are just really misleading, and maybe this is, I don't know, a female character? Because that's what we're missing. Oh, fucking Alien, that's right. But let's put Alien out of the picture.
Yeah, it's gonna be Alien's probably the female character.
Which would be the dumbest fucking bullshit on the fucking bullshit planet.
Either that or they didn't follow their typical pattern of one female character. But I could see the Alien being the... I'm really hoping it's not Alien, but I don't think there's any way that's possible. That totally looks like an alien head with the teeth and everything. We can totally make out lighter pixels right there, as pixelated as this thing is. That totally looks like, type of thing when the aliens do that thing.
Yeah. And the one on the left, like, I think honestly, out of the best chance for the one on the left is probably Noob Saibot. Probably.
Which would be a shame, because if it is Noob, I would prefer, if he's only getting one well, I guess there's variations, but I would prefer the hood. I prefer the hood with the Mask of Phantasm look going on.
Yeah, but...
I'm afraid it's Baraka. I really am afraid of that.
The only reason I don't think it's Baraka is because Baraka has the ropes. And Baraka is, at least as far as I remember, doesn't have that distinctive forearm guards. I don't think he did. Let me get the picture back up.
That could not. I mean, that could be something.
He doesn't. He has blades coming out of
Yeah, but it could be something else other than forearm. That could just be his muscles or something. It's hard to tell exactly.
No, that's true.
Because it could be just his elbow, and maybe there's spikes coming out of his arms. I'm not sure.
I think we would see the spikes.
Right.
I think you have a point because it even almost looks like a rope around his right arm.
Yeah.
His left arm.
Yeah.
But is Baraka's shoulders that broad? I mean, they were in Deception. Let me get the picture back out again. I don't remember them being that broad in...
Pull up.
I mean, it'd have to be a complete costume change if it's Baraka. There's no way that could be Baraka unless they change the costume.
I feel like they
Baraka
have to.
has like a semi, like, not a hood, but just something that wraps around his neck.
I feel like they'd have to change the costumes for all of these characters to a degree. Otherwise, what's the point? I mean, it's you're going to keep elements. Baraka's always going to be wearing like a chest protector that goes around his shoulders and whatnot. But I don't know. I feel like if they don't give him something new or polish him up a bit, then what's the point? I guess I don't know.
Smoke. I mean, I'm not rolling out Smoke either. I think Smoke is a very strong possibility. God knows people want Smoke. And like we said yesterday, like depending on how you look at it, Smoke debatably won that poll. Depending on which way you think of it. I know there's the reverse route where you could say, well, people double voted their character, but
right.
Still.
But is that poll indicative of how much... Well, we don't know where they're choosing their characters from. We don't know if it's by popularity based on tournament play, if it's based on a poll like that we just didn't know about, or if that poll was done fast enough, or if they go off just how much they get, like, maybe they, frequent MK forums and they're going based off that, or maybe they're going off what people send them on Twitter, like who has the most outcry, which Baraka, and that's where Baraka comes in, because I feel like Baraka has that kind of outcry. Unfortunately. But, I mean, there's a lot of people that do ask for Baraka, and especially on Twitter, are probably going to be talking to him about Baraka.
Well, I think the only character we're probably wrong about is the one on the right. I think the left is either Noob, Sabat, or Smoke, possibly Baraka, but I don't think so. Like, just compare them right now. That doesn't look like a pose Baraka would do. The build also looks very different, and the forearm shapes, I mean, maybe it's the angle, but the forearms don't look right either. I think we would see at least one spike. And the rope placement's different. The ropes are lower on his shoulders as opposed to higher up near the deltoid on this guy.
Yeah,
let's hope they're going by tournament results, because if they are, then that's Smoke, that's Cyrax, Alien, obviously, and the guy on the right is fucking Cabal. So
one other possibility.
Not really, but yeah.
One other possibility is the guy on the left is a cyborg.
The very left.
Yeah, the very left, not Alien. The very left could potentially be a cyborg, because that is a big, bulky body. You don't really see any spot that necessarily would have to be skin. You could see a lot of the shoulder guards, the forearm guards, which they have those bulky forearm guards. The head shape looks like something that could be all blended in, like a Sector mask. I mean, Sector's mask doesn't have a lot of bulbous things poking out or anything. It's very smooth and goes down into the beaver teeth. So,
it's true, but I think it's unlikely. But I think there is something to be said there. The shoulders are the reason why I don't think it's a cyborg.
Yeah.
The shoulders look too bare. I don't think historically we've ever had a cyborg that has shoulders that minimal.
Yeah, that go smoothly into each other like that, rather than a shoulder guard poking out or anything. I'm not sure. So Alien. So basically, what we've whittled it down to is Fujin's one of them. So there's that. And if we're getting, okay, so say the one on the left is either a ninja or Baraka, then we have Alien, then we have what's most likely a cyborg. The one on the right could be Bo, could be a cyborg, but that could also be Fujin as well, and we're just being deceived to think that that looks like a bigger torso because of how heavily the smoke is on the right. Because the smoke makes it so you can't see the little gap between the stomach, torso, and his arm. So his arm could just be overlaying there, and it just makes the torso look bigger. I don't know.
Could it be possible that the one I almost don't want to say it because it sounds so crazy, but do you think the one on the far right could be Rain?
Yeah.
Because I can't tell with the smoke. It looks like he's wearing an Asian sort of like button-down jacket, sort of.
See, the Rain.
But that could be the smoke.
Rain would probably be the one that I'm seeing the most on this. Secondly, I'm still seeing Bo as the most on the right, but when you mentioned Rain, it does look like someone that could be wearing kind of that garb that he's usually used to wearing, his mask and everything.
Yes.
Alright, let's see.
And the reason he looks fat is because of the smoke. When we brightened it up, the smoke made it look like he had extra girth, you know? So if you kind of mentally block out the smoke, it looks like he actually slims down as you get lower in the photo.
Yeah.
Let me look at the non-brightening one again and see if that lines up with my other perceptions.
Alright,
let's get rid of this fucking picture of Baraka on my computer.
Alright, let's brighten it back.
Yeah, dude, like, when I'm looking at the original silhouette pre-brightened,
Here, let me
it does look like it could be Rain. It looks a lot like it could be Rain. But let me get an MKX picture of Rain then. Let's see what we got. Yeah, dude, look at MKX Rain. Look at the collar. But do you see it?
I do see that. I could totally see the mask, the ninja mask that he wears, kind of the veil or whatever, or just a mask in general from his other attire. I can see the head shape matches up. The hair would be back in a ponytail, or he has the ninja actual thing going over his head, the cowl. I could see on his arm, I can kind of see it, because what's weird to me is right here. You see this little spot? It's...
Remember, my chat's a little delayed.
Yeah. When you see it, I'm just circling. Okay. I'm circling the left part, which would be his right arm, and the gap that's right there. It looks like a piece. I'm Mike Tyson. A piece of clothing could be draping over that gap, which would totally line up with something Rain would have.
And so, if you look at the shape of the head, like the way his mask is, I think fits the head very perfectly.
Yeah, because it does drape down very similar to what Rain would have, and that's that thing that's draping. That it's kind of like a cape that he has, kind of like a smaller cape. That could be something that's draping down to make his overall figure look even bigger. If that's the case, though, man, I would prefer, because the collar, you nailed that on. That definitely looks like Rain's collar, especially. But, man, I would take Bo over that.
Yeah, well, on principle. Like, honestly, I like Rain better as a character, but on principle, I would
I mean, Rain's cool. Rain is definitely cool, and Rain has that rabid fan base, like him or not, but...
Well, they have a game with Rain in it. They have a very well-made game where Rain is very playable. We don't have that with Bo, you know?
Yeah. So, okay, so then that changes the
Pokemon now.
It changes, who's that Mortal Kombat character? It's... It does change the dynamic, though.
Pokemon's name? I can't remember. The one that in Smash Brothers you, drop on the screen. He's next to Mewtwo.
What's that?
The fat Pokemon next to Mewtwo.
Oh, Snorlax.
Snorlax. There's no way I was going to remember that.
Yeah, the giant-ass Pokemon.
Like 10 minutes. But go on, yeah?
Okay, so that changes the dynamics. We have Alien. If this is Rain, and this, who would this be? Is this the Cyborg, and then the one that Praetor said was possibly Fujin? Is that Fujin? Even though it looks like a weird bulbous helmet? But, I mean, the angles...
Like, the stream's back. It's delayed for me, so which ones are you pointing at? Do you want to go from left to right, who I think it may be? Like, if I was betting?
Let's see. Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's about that time where we make our final predictions, and because now we've pretty much analyzed. We pretty much analyze, yeah, everything that there is to analyze on these pictures. I think the rain revelation is probably the best last, big revelation we're going to potentially make out of this. But if we are to put our chips down on something and put it all in on something, what would you say is the one on the left first?
I'm gonna say smoke.
Man, the chances of that being a ninja. I mean, they'd sell well, but the chances of that being a ninja for getting rain on the right, I feel are significantly less. And I also feel it's much more likely we're getting that's. I'm gonna say that one's Sector. Yep, I'm gonna go with that. But then the shoulder guards, man, it's so fucking.
Well, so which one? Which one sector then? Wait, which one?
I don't know. Like I kept saying the one on the second to the right would be Sector, but
it could be. It looks like Sector, but I don't know.
The mask looks more like Cyrax, though, so that's what's throwing me off. Or more like a classic MK Cyborg mask if they go that route. But I don't know, that one on the left. But then the one on the left definitely looks like he has ears, so it's all sort of fucking confusing. But I'll say.
What do Baraka's ears look like? Gosh, I'm so fucking sick of this. I don't, Baraka fans, I love you guys, I really do. But I'm just Baraka'd out for a lifetime.
Yeah. Baraka. I had his image pulled up. That's right. It's which one's him here? It's this one. They're pointy.
If the ears are indicative, dude, it's not Baraka.
It's pointy. They're pointy ears, so I mean it could be.
Do they look pointy in the silhouette though?
Yeah. Well,
they do.
Well,
they're not high enough.
They look kind of big, like bigger ears. So I don't know.
Well, here's my thing. Do ears rule out or support a ninja?
I don't know because what
distinct. If it's a ninja mask, you shouldn't be able to see like you should see like the
right.
bulge where the ears would be. But
yeah, I don't know. For me, it's such a toss up between Baraka or a ninja. But then, like I said, if that's like a noob or smoke, then could they really do noob / smoke, or whichever, and then rain on the right, and then a cyborg and alien? Don't you think people would kind of bitch, oh, we're getting all ninjas and blah blah blah?
I think historically, ninjas sell games.
True. I agree with you there. I agree 110%. What we're not taking into account, however, is the fact that they're surrounded by smoke, so maybe that's a hint.
That's true.
But then again, I guess the Kombat Pack 1 had the fog, too. So.
Did it?
I think so.
I honestly can't even remember.
I think so. I'm.
When you brightened it, though, like the smoke is almost all I'm seeing. Like.
Right. I don't know. Just alien, what the fuck?
I Jason was first revealed in the silhouette.
Yeah,
I know, I hate it.
If there's anything that we're wrong about, I hope it's that. I would take any of the people that were suggesting it, besides Baraka, but I mean, Baraka's still less harmless than Alien to me. Like, Alien just seems to me like a waste of a spot. Yeah, and...
He's tenure.
And he makes a lot of people happy. And yes, I'm sure there's a lot of people asking for Alien, from the more casual department, which is fine. But, like I said, then we shouldn't have had Jason in this game. Just put the two people that belong together and then save Jason for MK11 and do Jason and Ash or something like that they could have done. But the fact that they did all three of them when we're so starved for, like, more deserving representative MK characters, to me, is just mind-boggling. Especially because... if that's their one female, if they're going to stick with that, if that's their logic behind that, then man, did Serena and Lee May get the shaft, and Frost. Totally got the shaft on that one.
But I mean, we'll know tomorrow at least. But honestly, that doesn't make me feel better. It makes me feel more uneasy. Like I feel like I'm going up a roller coaster.
Yeah, no, I feel sick I just feel sick. I'm nervous. I don't want to. When I see Sector, not Cyrax, that's going to be a nice little gut punch. But I mean, it's cool. Like I said, as much as I don't like the fact that Sector is getting picked over Cyrax logic-based and biased, because I obviously am going to have personal bias on that with my favorite character, but at least a Cyborg made it into MKX, I guess. That's one thing I did want, but the Sector plays really slow. That does nothing for me. Like, if he plays slow and powerful like he did in MK9, I can't do that, so I wouldn't even be able to use him anyways, but
it would complete the aesthetic, because right now the aesthetic is very lopsided. It's a bunch of humans, you know?
Yeah.
And where's the demons? Oh, let's cross that. Because there are revenants, but where's, like, the...
Well, we're getting alien.
The fantastic...
We're getting alien for that monster.
Can the Linkway automate the alien at least? Fucking meet me in the middle? Shit.
I know.
Alright, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to look at anything tomorrow. I'm not going to log on to MKO. I'm not going to click on Test Your Might. I'm not going to even, like, look at my text messages tomorrow. I'm just going to look at Skype. If you see the trailer first, just link it to me. I'll full screen it. We can record my reaction.
If it's, like, early in the morning and whatnot? Or are you talking about after work?
No, this will be, like, right when I wake up around 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I mean, if it hits early in the morning, I'll be going to bed around 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Shit, that's going to be rough. I'm going to try to be up by about 12:30 at the latest. I'm going to set so many alarm clocks, but...
Yeah, I'm going to set a couple myself and just try and see if I can continually wake up throughout the different times. I would guess that maybe we should probably look up when Kombat Pack 1 hits, because I would imagine it's going to be a similar time. I just don't know how we would do that. Kombat Pack... I don't know where... I don't remember... I'm trying to think how we'd find out when that hit. Kombat Pack 1... Or Kombat Pack Mortal Kombat X, I guess. Let's see. I don't know, I'll have to look into that. It's not important when we're streaming this, but it's just... Man, okay, well, let's wrap up what we think.
I say final bets.
Yeah.
Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
So, okay, who'd you say for the left? You said Smoke?
I said Smoke, yes.
I'll go in on that being Sector. Or fuck.
Whatever you say, just let us know your rationale. Sector versus Baraka versus Noob. Like, what do you think?
I'm going to say that's... I think it does have a good chance of being either Smoke or Baraka. So I'm going to say Baraka.
Okay. Why?
Baraka...
What's the deciding factor here? What tipped you?
For me, Baraka, because I don't see any shoulder guards on that. Did Smoke have shoulder guards? I could have sworn Smoke did.
He did, but they had curvatures.
Okay,
so they didn't stick out.
That does fit. Though I do expect him, if it is Smoke, to get a new outfit. So
Get better.
Yeah, if he gets, if any of these characters get their previous outfits, and that's just absolutely stupid. We're paying for new characters with. What's that?
I wanted Deception Smoke, because I know if it is Smoke, it's not the Deception Nano Smoke, because he doesn't have the spikes coming out of his mask. Now, granted, they could change that if it was Deception Smoke, but that was like the most distinctive feature of the fucking costume. If you're gonna bring that back, why would you leave that out? The fucking metal demonic mask is like the defining feature of that costume. The rest of it is like a dude in S&M. So if you don't have that mask, there's not much left of Nanosmoke other than the fact that he's a cloud wearing a ninja outfit.
Yeah.
He's Kirby.
But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Baraka purely on the fact that the shoulders look nice and curved. He looks like he's wearing a V. His head looks reminiscent of a Baraka head. The ears look kind of pointy if those are indeed his ears, and they're not just like bulges in a ninja mask. The silhouette makes it difficult, but I could totally see a giant ferocious mouth kind of in that image a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to make anything out, but I just, for some reason, to me, it either looks like Baraka looking straight forward at the camera, so it's a little bit difficult, but I think it's more likely that his head's slightly turned to the left, I think, and looking down. I think that's Baraka, and I think the shoulder guard, not the shoulder guard, but the upper arm guard, he's wearing one of those, or ropes of some sort, and then the forearm, that's not a forearm guard or cybernetic thing. That looks to me like it's possibly, where it comes to kind of sharp points where it looks a little jagged, like the muscle texture, to me that could be like right here along his arm. I know it's delayed, but along the right side of his body, it's his left, but along the right side of that image, it kind of comes to a point where it meets back with the forearm. Maybe that's the point of a spike up against his arm, one that's not jettisoning out, but it's one that's laying up. So that's what the giant bulge is there. Maybe that is his spikes. That's the spikes that shoot out of his arm that he actually uses. Maybe that's why that looks giant, bulky, and weird, because in general, Baraka looks giant, bulky, and weird. He's just an oblong-looking character with a lot of bulges on his arms and shit like that. So, final conclusion, that's Baraka, and I think I have a reason for why, and I think we're getting a story pack sans alien. And
yeah,
because each of the other three characters, to me, no matter who they are, they're all from story. And I mean, Smoke fits in that too, so I mean, he's totally within that concept, but I think that's what we're getting. I think their logic is this is a story characters, NPC character pack, with Alien on top of it to fit with Predator.
I do want to throw something in real quick, though. First of all, thanks for everyone tuning into the chat. We got so caught up in the analysis, I forgot to say hi to you guys. Yes. Thanks for joining us today. Let's see. If you guys got any last-minute questions, we'll be happy to answer anything. So I'm Smoke on the left, you're Baraka on the left. Do we even need to commentate on the next one? I think we both know what we know at this point.
Basically, the only question we have to ask ourselves is, could that possibly be anybody else? I do not think that's an illusion with the smoke, where it looks like somebody's head is going up like that. It's way too dark, and the smoke is defining everybody else's shapes pretty darn well. I think
that's a clear mouth, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think that's me projecting. I think that's a fucking mouth.
The only thing that's difficult for me to accept with that image is not the mouth, because tomorrow when they reveal the character and it walks up to the screen, it's totally going to have that, hissing noise that Alien's doing with the mouth open like that. So that, I feel like that's the classic Alien image. So it makes sense why they would use that as their pose. And I think the head's going up like that. But the only thing that doesn't jive well with me is, are Aliens' bodies, like the silhouette, if you follow the head all the way down to the right and all the way down to the end of the next part, and then on the left, where it runs into the person on the left's body, it's all almost 100% smooth. That just doesn't sound like an alien body to me. I would imagine some sort of jettisoning out thing, some pointy thing, it just looks so smooth, which is just odd to me, because it must be at some specific angle where all the cool crap on their body is all on the inside, but somehow on the outside they're wearing like a business suit that just makes it all, like, brings it all in, suck that in.
Dude, we get Alien in a business suit. Like, I might not be mad. I might be like, okay, all right.
That'd be pretty sweet.
You put Alien in a tie. I can't argue with that. You can't argue with Alien in a tie.
Its mouth thing, the thing that shoots out like its tongue is just tying it.
It's like a business card at the end.
Yeah.
This inside job. But no, Chris suggested... Now, this doesn't make sense if you look at it brightened, but I think he's actually kind of onto something.
Yeah.
If you look at the original silhouette. He suggested Frost. If you look at the original silhouette, I think there might be something to that. What do you think?
Let me go back to the original here. Oh man, that is so dark for me to see.
I mean, the build is very large, given that they're further in the background. But I want something to believe in.
Okay, so if I just put my hand over the top part of their head, like say it doesn't go up that far, but it does extend a bit, I could kind of see that there. It's still a giant figure, though, for me to accept Frost. Like, that looks like... I wouldn't imagine Frost's normal head size, even if you take away the top part of it, is that ginormous.
The neck would have to be huge.
Yeah, because if you... Neck and head both. Because if you bring that figure up front to the size of the figures in front, by far that head and neck are, dwarfing the other two people. So I would say it can't be Frost for that reason. It can't be anything else but Alien, unfortunately.
Well, the body we were talking about, I think if you explained if it's hunching over, that could explain why it's the outline is so ridiculously smooth.
Yeah.
But if it was hunching over, the alien typically has things protruding from her back.
Right.
Like these sort of like, I don't know, I don't want to call them limbs, but appendages, I guess is what I would call them. You could argue that the reason we're not seeing it is because it's obscured by the smoke.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
Castleman, what's up, bro?
I can't see the chat at all, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Can.
Where'd you find it? Can't even see my own damn chat. Where'd you just link it to me? Because I think I'm on the stream page, like the live stream page, so it's not taking me to the actual chat. Can you link it to me in the Skype chat?
Yeah, no, that will not be a problem.
I cannot see. That's why I haven't been shouting out at anybody or anything. I can't seize it.
Now, Castleman says number 2 is rain. Castleman, we were thinking number 4 was rain. Because of the collar.
Number 2? So, like, the 2 as in, on which side?
I assume that means second from the
Oh, jeez. I just can't. Oh, God, my own voice coming back to me. This is awful. How do you do it?
Do this to yourself. No, he thinks Noob is on the left. Yeah, we think Noob is a pretty strong contender for the left. I'm throwing smoke out there. I think Noob is a very strong possibility. The reason why we don't think it's Noob is because Noob, his current signature is the hood.
We think, yeah, we would think they would continue the hood design because they're only going to get one attire. Granted, it could be a variation with the hood, so that would make complete sense based on the Kenshi losing his bandage and whatnot, but in different variations and other different visual indicators. So if they go that route, I could totally see it being Noob. I would agree there.
Okay, and Castleman, my question to you would be, do you think any of these guys are a cyborg? I know you're not going to hear this for like another 10 seconds, but...
Well, it has to be. Somebody's been dropping hints all over for a certain catch-up guy, so if it's not, then that would be incredibly interesting, I guess. That middle one to the right has to be a cyborg to me. That head looks so much like a helmet.
I think it's 50-50, Cyborg or Fujin. Because, shit, if that's not Fujin, then all
the one on the right
left is the two on the far right.
Yeah, I could see that.
Fujin vibe.
Yeah, but it could be a different... We haven't seen Fujin... Well, I guess we did see him in the MKX, duh. What did he wear, though, in story mode? Let me look.
He wore sort of like a... It's very reminiscent of the MK4 with the straps over his torso.
Right. I'm just saying maybe we get okay. Yeah, he's got the shoulder guards and he's got the V or not the V. Yeah, kind of like the V thing that goes down, and he's got the headband. He's got the his hair seems all to be in one nice little bunch that collides with his ears, and it's back in a ponytail. So
Castleman says number 3 looks like Smoke from the second movie, who had a chest massage.
Right. That's what I was.
Really indiscreet, indirect way of saying it looks like Sector.
That's what I was.
You're saying it looks like Sector then. Yeah,
that's what I was saying before. I was using that as an example because it definitely looks most like the helmet from MK3 or the movies. So that could be Cyrax or Smoke, or it's Sector. That's why it's confusing. I don't know.
I don't know either. God, if they release this trailer at 7 p.m., it's going to be a rough day at work tomorrow. Tomorrow's already a rough day at work. I have to call so many pissed off clients, but oh gosh.
I think the only thing that I still have to question about number 4 on who that could be is you nailed that collar being Rain's collar. That looks so much like Rain's collar, and does Bo have a collar like that, or whoever else it could be? Let's see.
I don't believe so. I don't think he has a collar that wraps around his neck that tightly. Because if it did,
he does kind of have a collar, yeah, but yeah, it doesn't wrap around his neck that tightly. You're right. But it does stop at the outsides of his neck like that into a jacket. So, I mean, it possibly could be that.
And Smokeman, if these silhouettes are a red herring, that would be the best thing on the planet for me. I would not be happier, but I don't think they are. I don't think we have any reason to believe they are. Yeah, and you know what, Castleman? I was thinking Shujinko for the one on the right as well. And fuck, if Shujinko was fucking Kombat Pack 2, I couldn't really be mad at anything at that point. I'm a huge Shujinko fan, but it's probably not. I don't think you have anything to worry about, Cyborg, in regards to Shujinko. I think
I'm still got if I had to place my money right now, it would still either be Bo or Rain for me, or Fujin, I guess, because Fujin's got to be here somewhere. You know?
Okay, take that joke back. Yeah, I mean, like I said on the show last night, if Fujin's not in Kombat Pack 2, it would almost be worth it for the reactions. It would almost be worth it. Because you know what? I hate to say it, but that's what it's going to take. I want the fan base to grab NRS by the shoulders and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Especially if Alien makes it in and not Fujin.
Yeah. If Shujinko makes it in not Fujin, dude, oh my god, the tears. I don't like seeing people in pain. I'm not a sadist. I don't want to see people unhappy. But I want NetherRealm to fucking learn, you know? Yeah, good shit, Adam Wilson. Shujinko, I think people miss the point of Shujinko. I think when you look at the palette of abilities he can have, he becomes so much more interesting. And I like good characters. I like characters who are good without qualification. I get really tired of the brooding, too cool for school sort of characters, which is why Sub-Zero is one of my favorite characters of all time. When he converted from sort of gray to good, it was a genuine conversion. And he became a true nobleman, and I thought that was cool. He wasn't this brooding, I walk alone kind of asshole. He was really good. It wasn't any anime shenanigans. So,
all right, so we got... Let's take Castleman's final 4 into consideration here, because he is a man with credit here, and his analysis of these 4 silhouettes is Noob, Rain, Sector, and then number 4 is Fujin or Bo. So that leads... Okay. I think we're both still under the impression that's Alien in a second. But say, just hypothetically, if it was Rain, and the 4 are some combination of those 4 that he listed, where we got Noob on the left, Rain second, 3rd is Sector, and 4 is Fujin or Bo Rai Cho, would you be happy with that?
Say again? I was reading the chat.
Son of a bitch. If the four were Castleman's predictions, which would be Noob on the left,
Yes.
Rain second, Sector third, and Fujin or Bo for number 4, would you be happy?
Well, we have to commit. Is the fourth one Bo or is the fourth one Fujin?
Well, we'll hypothetical. Would you be happy if it's Fujin and it's that 4?
Let's lock it on Fujin then. If we have Noob, Rain, Sector, Fujin, 5.5 out of 10. It's hard to say happy or unhappy. They didn't completely fuck up. I'll give them that.
Do you feel like that would lack...
I think it's a failure overall, but I wouldn't be unhappy.
Do you feel like it would be a lack of MK, the 3D era characters, with only Fujin and the rest being trilogy characters?
Well, that's why I say failure. I wouldn't be unhappy. It wouldn't be a fuck up. But I would still say, if you want to represent Mortal Kombat, and you want to please the game, who've supported the game, not just now, but people like you and me who supported it in 2004 and beyond, then they fucked up. I'll round down. I would be unhappy.
Okay, so you'd give them about average, you'd give them, 5 out of 10 or whatever. I would say if that's the final 4, Noob, I'm sure they would do amazing, so I can't really be disappointed there. If that is indeed Rain, I've already said my piece on that. It should have been in the initial roster, so I would not be happy with Rain's inclusion here, especially having to pay for him twice in a row, game to game, especially when they said they weren't going to do that. Sector being the 3rd, I would still question why not Cyrax, but okay. And Fujin, I would not be happy at all. I would not be excited. I would say out of the 4, I would only really be looking forward to Fujin. I'd be looking forward to Fujin, Noob, and Sector. Not so much Rain, just because, like I said, I feel like they should have put him in the initial roster, so that bothers me. But I don't know. I would be quite disappointed, honestly. I want to see Ali May. I want to see Serena. Obviously, I want to see Cyrax and a Smoke or anything like that. But yeah, to me, that would be a disappointment. Now, let's switch gears and say it's Bo. How would you feel?
I'd be disappointed. I'm already unhappy. So
it'd get worse. If that wasn't Fujin and it was Bo instead, it'd get worse?
It would get worse. Because even though I feel like the 3D era characters need representation, Fujin is just as much a 3D era character as Bo Rai Cho. And he's a better character overall. I would say he's a more important character. And people are saying Fujin might be the one we think is Smoke. I mean, I can't rule that out. I don't think that's the case because of the shape of the head, but it's possible. I think the only thing Castleman's wrong on is Alien.
Yeah.
Like, that. I think that's Alien Castleman. I don't think there's any way around it. If you do 720 resolution and you full screen it, you can see the teeth.
Yeah.
You can even see the Marge Simpson haircut that makes Alien. Like, there's no way around it, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That totally looks like a mouth. Man, I need to pull up an Alien picture because that totally looks like Alien.
Well, Horseplay, the reason I didn't mention any Deception characters is because I don't think any Deception characters have a chance. I don't think they do. Deception is my favorite game of the MK series. I love Havoc. Lee May's my second favorite character of all time. She's sandwiched right between Smoke and Sub-Zero. And just kind of, delve into that image for a second. I would love Deception characters. Lee May's as much a Deception character as she is a Deadly Alliance character because her story changes so much, in my opinion. I love Astra. I even love Cobra. I love Cobra. And me and Razor were talking about that on the show last night. I think people just don't get Cobra, but... Yeah, it's not even like I'm seeing teeth and I'm deducing Alien. It looks like Alien's jaw size and mouth. The distance even looks the same to me,
Yeah, no, like I said, I totally see it. It's... let's see, I got some sort of pen here. Alright, so this area looks like this area. Obviously, you have the curvature of the thing. The only thing that bringing up this Alien picture to me puts in doubt is, once again, I still don't quite understand how the body could be so damn smooth. Just looking at this Alien, That alien looks completely fucking. You got jagged edges everywhere. You got sharp things pointing out. It's a very skinny body. It's very like thin. So
I think the smoke may have something to do with that, though.
maybe, but I mean, even the silhouette looks so like. I'll get rid of the alien picture or move it over. But that, damn it, now it's moving my lines over.
Dude, if we got 8, first of all, Horseplay, people love Frost. She got number 2 on the Event Hubs poll, so people don't hate those characters.
I'd be okay with I'd be happy with Frost, but yeah. So I
want to. It does have quite a few. They all have a lot of fans. It just, I think, sort of like the superficial representation of those characters comes from the 2011ers, who left the game in Mortal Kombat 3 and came back in 2011. So that's their overall impression. So they sort of get like, this was the Dark Ages, this is what no one wants. But those games were pretty much despised because the gameplay was so bad and unbalanced, and it's just an engine no one really likes, to be honest with you.
I don't see any doubt that could be that is Alien, and if that's right, that means. So that's what makes me question what Castleman's predictions are, because he said, once again, Noob, Rain, Sector, and then undecided on Fujin and Bo on the right. So I could buy into Noob. I still think that's Alien, and that would leave Sector and Fujin / Bo. I just... Those... I still don't understand Sector. I could see Noob because he's going to be he's probably been requested. He's probably one of the top 3 most requested characters. I totally see that. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's hard to argue.
Because I'd imagine on Twitter you're getting a lot of people shouting out about Noob. I would imagine.
I wonder. I mean, I feel like everyone's getting shouted out on Twitter though. And just to respond to Horseplay real quick. That's still not true, dude. Like, there's a lot of Nitara fans out there. There's a lot of Lee May fans out there. There's a lot of Havoc fans out there. Like, there's a ton of them. I mean, I know he's Deception. He's not Deadly Alliance, but it just depends on who you ask, really. Everyone's going to have their favorites. I think just the people who hate that era shout a little louder. Because there's more people who haven't played those games than have, so naturally you're going to get that vocal I don't want to call minority because it's hard to segregate the factions when you have people who haven't even played the game. But no, I think Noob's a strong possibility. You see, here's the thing, Cyborg. I didn't know Noob was that popular until I saw the Event Hubs poll. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I felt that Noob's quite popular ever since maybe Deception. I thought they did really good with him in Deception at updating his attire and his costume. And I think MK9 completely blew everything out of the water because, as we both said, that was our favorite trailer. He looked amazing. They did awesome stuff. And I think people really, really wanted the character back. From casuals to maybe not so much in the tournament scene, because I don't know much about his presence there. But I think if you're taking casuals and just hardcore MK fans outside of the tournament scene, I think Noob is definitely top 5 popular characters. I mean, I don't know, like, on forums, I feel like you still see a lot of Noob fans out there, and as we both said, or probably came to the conclusion of, in a poll where you have 5 votes, like the one we were going through, the Event Hubs one, I think Noob would make a lot of people's top 5 over a lot of other characters, in my opinion. So I think he's the safer character. He's a harmless character to put in here, because one, you're going to get a lot of people excited that actually is his favorite character, he is their favorite character, and I think you're going to make a lot of people happy that are like ninjas. I mean, ninjas do sell, so if he's the only ninja in here, say we cancel out Rain, that is indeed Alien, so you have Noob, Alien, Sector or whatever, and Fujin, I think Noob is the one that's going to help sell that pack the most, in my opinion.
Well, there's another question I want to ask to follow that up, but in regard to Noob Saibot's tournament reputation, it's kind of interesting. He was one of the king of the low tiers, in my opinion, because even near the end, a lot of people were religiously using Noob Saibot, and he was still kind of contentious. Most people agreed he was low tier,
Yeah.
but he had some defenders. I know Used for Glue had a lot of good things to say about Noob Saibot, even deeper into the years as the game got older. Tom Brady used Noob Saibot as his secondary early in the game. Phil Pops. I played Phil Pops at Evo, actually.
Yeah, I remember
he was
that
a Noob Saibot guy from pretty much as far as I know till the very end. He now plays Kotal Khan. A lot of people like that style, and he's one of those styles where if your Yomi is really good, you can really get into your opponent's head, no matter how bad your options are. In San Antonio, we had a loyal Noob Saibot Katana player, and he used Noob Saibot in tournament pretty much up until Injustice came out, just because he was tired of Katana, I think. So Noob had pretty decent representation. I know Mazden, I think that's his name. He came to MLG with his Noob Saibot from Germany. So
That's true. I think somebody brought up Horseplay did bring up a good point. Doesn't Cage have something that's very reminiscent of Noob's moves as one of his variations?
It is a good point, because I wonder, even though I think you could still differentiate the characters pretty well despite Stunt Double,
Right.
it still makes me question if they would have done it if they knew Noob Saibot was probably on the horizon.
Castleman says he's seen the bigger head with the visual indicator thing, the comparison.
Yeah, it's the Marge Simpson.
Yeah.
So it's and the teeth. Can you see the teeth, Castleman? Because that's what sold me. Like,
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's hard to make out the teeth, especially, and it's especially harder in the screen. But if you maximize the screen or go full screen with it, you can barely make out there's definitely something lighter in there that looks reminiscent of teeth. And if they're going to put Alien in there to pose, like if they're all walking up towards the camera to do their pose, and then it says coming soon or whatever, that I could totally see Alien having that hissing face. Because if you search, that's just the iconic image of Alien. If you search on Google Alien, you're going to see a bunch of images of Alien hissing. That's just the classic look.
You know what would be the biggest troll ever?
What's that?
If they reveal it and Smoke walks up and Sector walks up. Or let's say not Sector. Let's say Smoke walks up, Fujin walks up, then Rain walks up on the right. And finally, you see fucking Frost come out of the fucking mist. And then a fucking chest burster comes out of her, and then it fucking...
Oh, I was about to say, people would love that. Oh, damn it. That would be intense. Yeah, it'd be a hell of a way to announce. But yeah, you'd piss off a lot of people.
I don't know if I could be mad at that, because I love ridiculous shit.
It's at least creative, yeah.
It's okay. Here's my final question, not just to you but to the chat. Let's nail it down. We have, let's say, Noob Saibot, Alien, Fujin, Rain. Let's say those are the four. Do you want to swap any of those out before we finalize that?
Noob Saibot, Alien, Fujin, and Rain?
Yeah. Do you want to swap one of those out? Because...
Yeah.
Okay, which one would you swap out?
Noob Saibot, well, we know we'd swap... Are you saying my guess or what I'd prefer? Because I'd swap just about everything. What's that?
Let's stick with the guess.
Okay, just sticking with the...
What I think is right.
What I think is right. I'm going to go... See, Horseplay did bring up a good point. If it is Noob, then why'd they give... it's like putting Jade in when Katana is mournful. I just feel like that's it just makes things awkward. It's not that they can't do it. They could still make Noob completely his own character. He's got a lot of options. There's a lot you can do with that character that you wouldn't even need to have just the same as that as Stunt Double. But with that being said, I still feel like it makes it awkward. I feel like it's unnecessary.
I don't necessarily think so, especially when we take the three variations into account. Because the way Johnny's Stunt Double works is it's sort of like not like a charge move in the Street Fighter stance. But it's sort of like an ability you charge up, and then it's a limited quantity that you have to utilize in your combos or for temporary zoning. Noob isn't really designed in the same way, but it's the same utility. But I think Horseplay's right about one thing. I don't think they would have made Stunt Double if they thought Noob Saibot was on the horizon.
Right.
I don't think it'd be an obstacle. Just like I was going to tell Luke Razor last night. I don't think Liu Kang being a melee character hurts Li Mei's chances whatsoever. Because making melee, fuck, I can't talk today. Making melee interesting, even if it's the same motions and the same moves, is not difficult aesthetically. And especially when you're messing with the frame data and properties, I think that's hella easy. So I don't think it's an obstacle. I don't think it would hurt the chances. At least not directly. I think it hurts them indirectly because, like I said, I don't think they would have made Stunt Double if they knew Noob Saibot was a possibility.
Yeah.
That's where I think it hurts Noob Saibot. But the reason why I'm asking you to finalize the characters, and that's what I want to pin down right now, if we think it's going to be this guy or that guy, is my next question is, would you buy the Kombat Pack? Those were the 4. That's my next question.
If who were the 4?
Well, exactly. So we got on the left, Noob Saibot, Alien, Fujin, and Rain. Now, if you want to swap one of those guys out,
I'd say
you think it's someone else, that's fine.
I think a Cyborg is definitely guaranteed, whether it's Cyrax or Sector. I think it's almost a guarantee at this point. So say we'll go with Sector because that's what the rumors are. So if it's Noob Saibot, Alien, Sector, and Fujin,
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat again. What? One more time. I'm sorry. Castman was saying something very important. You were talking at the same time. So.
What was it? Go ahead and just get it out there.
All right, a lot of people who know things, this is from Castman, are predicting a split reaction. Too often to ignore, so I really believe anything is possible. I think a split reaction is a fucking guarantee. Just by
no matter who it was, it could be.
I don't think there's any way around.
Right? No, there's no clear. Everyone being happy or everyone being pissed off because say it was Serena, Li Mei, Fujin, and Havoc. People that want the 3D era characters are going to throw a parade. People that want trilogy characters are going to hate it. Say it's half and half. The people that want more 3D era characters are going to be like, oh, it's great that we got these two, but fuck these other two. So I feel like no matter what, or if it's Sector, Cyrax fans are going to throw a fit. If it's Cyrax, Sector fans aren't going to be too happy. So, I mean, there's just no winner because everyone has their preferences. So it's... And Alien is the biggest thing that's going to cause a giant rift here because there's going to be people that do like Alien, think it makes sense, you know, go along with Predator, so they're not wasting that opportunity. I mean, Razor was saying the same thing that, you know, at least it makes sense. And so there will be people that are happy with it, but there's also going to be a lot of people that aren't happy with it. I just still can't get over the damn... Such a smooth body. Why does Alien have such a smooth body if it's Alien? I mean, I can't... I know you say it could possibly be the smoke, but the silhouette, just going down the right side of the body, that does not look... It looks like Alien's head with the hissing face on some posted, like photoshopped onto somebody else's body. That's honestly what it looks like to me.
Well, Smoke Man suggested the silhouettes are fake. I don't know if I know I don't agree with that. They're too distinctive. But
what if they?
What else could it be, dude?
Here's a possibility, though. Here's a possibility. What if they are? I don't think they're fake either. I think they are definitely because I think we got the same teaser for Kombat Pack 1 where they're all silhouettes like that. If I'm remembering correctly, and they were not fake. They were indicative of what they actually ended up being. So, with that in mind, if that is the case, but if they are fake, that third image totally looks just like the NK movie Cyborgs, like we said before. That looks exactly like Cyrax or Smoke standing there. Because that looks the same helmet shape, the same body shape, even has the ridges on the little top part of their shoulder armor there. So that looks exactly like that. Bo Rai Cho or Fujin or whoever it is on the right, that looks exactly like maybe a Rain render from previous, or a Bo Rai Cho, or even a Shujinko render, as we said. That looks like something we've seen before. Honestly, that pose, that stature, everything like that looks exactly like we've seen before. The alien image could be an alien head posted on a human body just to throw people off because of the head. and the one on the left would just be a Noob Zybot or a Smoke render from previous, you know. So I mean,
possibly.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I just don't think they would do that. I don't think they would. I mean, I'm not going to say they wouldn't purposely mislead people because we all know that's true. We know they do that. But with that being said, I don't think they would do it the day before and post all these silhouettes like that. I think it is legitimate like it was in the first time, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I think it's legitimate as well, and especially... Well, first of all, to Adam Wilson, the pose looks very much like Shang Tsung on the right. And it looks like he's wearing a gown, almost. The reason I don't think it's Shang Tsung is because of the mist, and I would say the color reminds me of rain. And I think it's deceptive, but I think the shoulders are where the garment ends. I don't think it extends beyond that. I really do think it's rain, especially with the shape of the head.
All right, he wants me to pull up a pic of.
But if it is like the Hugh Hefner Shang Tsung from MK1, then I don't know if I'd be happy about that, to be honest with you. Shang is almost in Baraka territory, even though I like the character substantially better.
All right.
I don't know if I want Shang back again. I'm kind of shanged out.
With Shujinko, this is totally the image I'm imagining for Shujinko, minus the hair flowing, which is throwing the image off. But
yes.
And then with Fujin, let me pull up an image for Fujin. Because he definitely has that posture of something that you would see. Like, I feel like I've seen that exact posture before for that render. Like, it honestly
That's pretty fucking spot on, to be honest with
you. That render, or that stature of that one on the fourth, I feel like we've seen that. I feel like I'm going to Google it, and it should be just right there. Like, that's how familiar that looks. So, I don't know, it's weird, but let's see if I can get a Fujin one here.
As for Kai Horseplay, I think he's not terribly popular, but I could see a revamp where they would try to sell Kai. The only thing kind of throwing me off with Kai is I would imagine if he came back, he'd have the Armageddon hair. That's not the vibe of the game from the one on the left. But if you did, they went back to Kai. There's no reason they wouldn't go back to MK4 Kai. So I certainly think it's possible. I think with the variations, Kai would be sick. Oh my god. That, Razor always says the name of it, but I can't remember it.
Capoeira,
yeah.
Alright, so there's that. Let me get Fujin ready. I wanted to pull up for comparison's sake. What?
You're not the only one dreaming horseplay. I'm still hoping one of these assholes is Liam A, but I know it ain't true.
Yeah, that's a shame, because my favorite female characters were from the 3D era, even though I do like Katana a lot more now. I loved Frost back in the day. I really did like Li Mei in Deadly Alliance, and I like Serena. I like the concept, and I like the idea of just giving her a chance because she has yet to get that real chance.
Yeah, and I thought she had a good presence in story mode, you know? I mean, they made her more conservative looking. They made her distinctly Asian. People often complain Li Mei jumped from being Asian to white from Deadly Alliance to Deception.
Yeah.
And not just, like, Asian to white, but Asian to, like, a white crack whore.
Alright, so that's what I'm getting.
Picture of Shang Tsung, by the way.
Yeah, that's an awesome picture, and that's what I would imagine if it was Shang Tsung. That's where I kind of see the resemblance there. So far we've got... See, that's the problem with the one on the right. I think the one on the right... Well, I guess the one on the left could be pretty up in the air, too. But the one on the right just looks like it could be one of, like, 5 different people, which makes it really difficult. But, alright, let's throw Fujin in the mix. It's hard to find a more... Because he hasn't had a more recent appearance, so this is the best I can find of his MKX appearance. Let me turn off the other ones here. So, yeah, I don't know who else would be Fujin on this if it's not the one on the very right. I mean, it could be.
I'm still thinking the one on the right middle. That's the one I'm thinking.
It's just that,
yeah.
Just the jaw just does not match up at all. That totally looks like a helmet. I still can't get over that.
I mean, it looks like it because you're right. That's exactly what it looks like. So it's hard, you know. But with that picture, I could definitely see Fujin being on the far left.
Oh,
and especially with the arms, man.
All right, I'll pull up the alt bio for Shujinko. Shujinko alt.
Michelle Yao. I don't know who that is. I'm Googling now. Yeah, I can see that.
What's that?
Lee May looks like Michelle Yao.
Yao?
Yeah.
Yao?
Yeah.
Yao?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're just kind of like degrading into cats at this point. We're not even singing sound.
Meow.
Michelle, yeah. I've never seen this girl before. I don't think I have. Let me do a quick Wikipedia on this beautiful woman. Filmography. Yeah, I have not seen any of these movies.
Alright, so there's...
no, she's in Super Cop. Holy shit, I love that movie. I didn't even realize that was her. God, that was a long time ago, too. Yeah, Super Cop is fucking legit. I've never seen the other police story movies, though. That's the only one I've seen. She was in Crouching Tiger. How did I... This has nothing to do with anything, but yeah, okay, yeah, she's pretty up there. She's done some, she's done things, Cyborg. She's done things. I forgot there's a new Crouching Tiger coming out.
Alright, well, Shujinko Alt is up there. Oh, I just realized when you were talking about the Pokemon thing earlier, you're talking about the background on the video.
Yeah, no, it's...
I thought you were just referencing something random.
Not gonna lie, it's kind of distracting. Because I'm trying to think, and I see, Snorzazel, whatever his name is.
Snorlax.
Snorlax.
Just think X-Lax and snore.
I don't want to think about either.
When you snore, you shit your pants.
Yes. I think the stance for Fujin's a little off, Phil's, but the design is really good. There's a simplicity to it I like for Fujin. But yeah.
Let me pull up the Bo one again, because I still see that so much. Let me make space here. Get them all up there, but...
Wait, Adam Wilson, who's Farva? Well, I know who Farva is, but on the silhouettes, which one's Farva? All right, thanks for joining us, Castleman. Take care, brother.
Yep, thanks for coming, man. Let's see.
If the one from the second from the right was Farva, that'd be fucking sick. Would you buy that, Cyborg?
No.
Why not? Can you imagine Farva doing run combos?
No. I think you deserve one of these. You deserve one of these looks after a comment like that.
Oh man, I could just see like fucking him doing that command grab on that fast food guy. Like, oh god, that'd be sick. But anyway,
Look at the video. This is the look I'm giving you. No, it's actually Donkey Kong giving it to you.
Hopefully we'll get his reaction tomorrow to what Mr. Kong thinks of the Kombat Pack. That's like vintage Donkey Kong 2.
Oh, that's from 1982. I had to eBay that shit.
Oh shit, how much did you pay for that?
That one was only like $25. Not bad.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I mean on eBay you can find a decent one. And they come in different sizes. You can get like little ones the size of your hand, wink, or you can get you can get ones that are like 2 feet fucking tall. It's ridiculous, but yeah, I got that not too long ago. I'm digging it. I dig it the most. I got all sorts of. That's why it's a shame that my webcam's facing this direction, because all my cool shit's that direction. So.
Real quick, Chris Sayago, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thanks for joining us, bro. Take care, dude.
Yep, thanks everyone for joining us. That's very cool. A lot of people came out to watch this. That's really...
as for a new Cyborg, if it's got to be a condiment, I want barbecue sauce.
Cyborg, Reptile, or bust. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that works. Horseradish.
Yeah.
Not horseradish. Oh,
Relish. Yeah.
Is relish good?
Or it could be a white Cyborg. Can be onions.
Well, it'd be mayo. Or a smoked mayo.
Or I could do a black Cyborg, and my name means everything now. That's what it was. That's what it originally was supposed to be. Is my favorite color at the time was black, and I was like, wouldn't that be awesome if there was like a Noob Sabot version of a cyborg, so it's black, like it's wearing black armor. But anyways.
Yeah, I can't. Maybe that's barbecue sauce. I don't know.
Yeah, golden
black condiment.
golden nexus. That's what we're kind of thinking. It's either going to be Baraka, Smoke, or Noob, something like that. It looks very similar to those kind of bunch of people. Which it could be Fujin too. I mean, let's not. I think the one on the right has a good chance of being Fujin, but the one on the left, I wouldn't put that out of the question of being Fujin. Let me pull up that Fujin.
Oh, thanks, Adam Wilson. Like we're having a blast doing it, dude. Especially with the new news. Like last night's episode was really fun. Like the last two graveyards have been a blast as well. Like it's I rarely laugh that much, but
yeah. What do you think about the one on the left being Fujin?
I think it's very possible. I think there's a strong possibility.
He's got the arm guards that look like they match up almost perfectly if you actually compare. Because the ridges go right up to his elbow, they come in right under his bicep or whatever, and it goes down towards the hand, which you can kind of see that in the image. He has the arm guard, which would match up. Obviously, a little bit could be changed, but he has the arm guard, and then the shoulder guards look like it could be possible. It's hard from that angle to tell on the right side, the character's left shoulder, but on the right side or the left side, the character's right shoulder, you might get a sense of that circular arm guard. But they're very subtle arm guards.
No, definitely. And also
he's got the ears.
Vestment.
Yeah, the vestment looks perfect. It's got the V.
The width is almost exact.
And the ears. And it almost looks like he has kind of a belt, like a giant belt like he has if you look down towards the bottom of the torso.
Here's my problem. If we get one ninja and it's Rain, I'm going to be so bummed. Like, I like Rain, but
yeah.
It's...
We all like Rain. It's just, I mean, I don't love Rain, but I do like Rain as a character. He's a cool character. But, yeah, I would, if I had to choose Noob or Rain, I'd still take Noob. Rain should have been in the game. I don't know. And when it comes down between the two of them, I think Noob has cooler moves. I think he's going to wow me more than Rain, I feel like. But that's my personal opinion.
Well, if there's a story pack, can you imagine Beard Zero having to reunite with Noob and how just emotional that would be? I want to see that. Like, the only reason I like the MKX story mode better than the MK9 story mode is because I think they did right by Sub-Zero and because the magic of seeing some of my favorite characters again. That's really the turning point. I still feel like the whole Cassie being Chinook did not feel earned, but we're not going to beat that horse. I have too many dead horses to beat. I can't afford to beat that one anymore. I'm starting to kind of think, I'm starting to sway a little bit. What if Fujin is the one on the left? Because I feel like I think everything matches up for me perfectly, but the head. The head right now, but that totally still could be Fujin. His hair is the only thing throwing me off, because his hair looks like it kind of bunches out just a little bit over the headband, and I'm not seeing that. But that could be the angle of the head. Could be... Because the left ear is, like, non-existent. So, I'm thinking he's looking...
He's looking...
right a little bit?
Yeah, he's looking towards the left side of the screen. His right. So, I think that's why it looks deceiving, but I think that could very well be Fujin, which would then leave Alien, a cyborg, which could most likely be Sector, and then on the right, I still think that, I mean, it could be Rain, but I'm thinking maybe Bo, but if it comes between Bo and Rain, I think Rain's, if they're going off pure fan demand, I think Rain's probably getting a more vocal outcry than Bo. I think that's pretty obvious.
It's really tough, dude, because if Fujin's on the left, that is one huge victory, because that means Baraka is out of the picture. So, could not be happy about that, but that means Smoke is fucked. Unless that cyborg in the background is Smoke. Which actually is not impossible.
If we're going off
the fan base for Cyber Smoke.
If we're going off the variation theory, then it could be Sector, Cyrax, and Smoke.
And that's a very bittersweet compromise for even me. Gosh. Because I wanted Lee May more than anyone, but since I know she's kind of out of the picture now. Smoke is all I have left.
It's true.
Gosh, and although I should have pushed the point harder. I knew Sindel wasn't going to be in the fucking pack. Baraka, I still don't think is likely. But we're going to find out. Like, if I'm wrong, Razor can rub that in my face till dawn, but still. This is just...
Well, his opinion might change now that we actually have... Because he was of the impression, he was setting his expectations the lowest they could be. He thought we were just going to get Sindel, Baraka, and Rain or whatever. He thought we were just going to get the story pack that was rumored a while back. And I don't think these silhouettes match up with that. I think it could be all people from story, but... I mean, it could still be Baraka, don't get me wrong. But I don't know. I see a lot of similarities there with Fujin. Or, I mean, it could still be a ninja, but I still see a lot of matchup with Fujin. And if it is Fujin... I think the one on the right, I think, has the most chance of being either, what the hell, Bo Rai Cho or Bo Rai Cho. And damn, I was going to do my impression of Bo Rai Cho again. Oh! No, Bo Rai Cho or Rain, which I would choose Bo over Rain in that, just because it's something different. We haven't had Bo in a while, but still, that would be disappointing to me.
Well, just to respond to the chat really quickly, here's the thing about the MKX story mode. I actually really agree with you. I don't like the plot of MKX, but I just feel like that Tea Party with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, I feel like that's been years coming, and it was so good to finally see those characters develop and kind of exit that stage to finally end that storyline. I thought was really well done. Especially I thought that was smart how they found out by taking the data from Sector. Another thing is, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the cameos, I mean, it's not plot relevant, but seeing Serena and her character and seeing how it was affected by the events of mythologies and seeing where that's taken her, things like that matter so much more to me than just seeing, Cyber Sub-Zero fight Goro and Kataro in a tag team, and I know that's not doing justice to the MK9 story mode. There are things I like about both, problems I have with both, but in Cyber Smoke, I would love to see Cyber Smoke, because I would love to see them take the moves he shared with Sector and make him his own. Like when he does a teleport punch, instead of doing the uppercut, he grabs you and does a suplex. So it's not a combo starter unless you burn it. If you do the meter burn, then maybe you get a combo after that. But there's so many aesthetic things. Same thing with the spear. Don't make it like Scorpion the spear. When he shoots out the spear, he does a slam, and you can meter burn it for combo potential. But make him more of like a footsie character as opposed to like the zoning striker that Sector was. From a gameplay perspective, Cyborg, who do you think is going to be the most interesting? Who do you think is going to shine the brightest? Who would benefit from coming back? From a gameplay perspective, what do you think?
One quick thing I want to throw in before I answer that is I have a thought about that Cyborg potential figure on second from the right, the one in the middle. What if, and I really hope this isn't the case, what if it is a generic Cyborg, hence the generic looking mask, so it's not going to be Sector's mask, but it's a generic like an MK3 style mask, basically, and it has almost like similar armor to that. So it's a generic Cyborg, which would lead credence to the fact that it's going to be Sector, Smoke, or Cyber Sub, or whatever, and Cyrax being the variations. But the character itself is not. It's just like a generic Cyborg, and if choosing between the variations is how you choose which one it is. So maybe
it's just a color change.
That it's just a color change, and they all have the same body.
That would be the worst. Like, I would rather them... The whole point of bringing a character back is to update their appearance.
Right.
Remember in Deadly Alliance, when you saw the characters for the first time?
Yeah.
You were blown away by how different they looked? That's the selling point of coming back into a Mortal Kombat game. I am okay... I am bittersweet, but still okay with having 3 cyborgs and 1 character broken into variations, but you gotta give them different costumes. You have to give them different costumes.
No, I agree. I agree. I'm just saying
everything.
That's a possibility. It's a possibility if they want to go to 3 different, but they don't want to make 3 different models for it. I could totally see something like that happening, and that would be a flop in my opinion. That pleases no one. That pleases no one because Sector fans aren't really getting a new appearance from Sector or Cyrax or any of those fans. They're just getting a generic Cyborg figure that has different colors and different names with different mood. Damn it, I'm just describing MK3.
Are you describing MK3? It sounds like you're describing MK3. Smoke Man, what if these silhouettes' backs are turned to us?
That would
yeah, that's interesting. That
would be funny. They walk up backwards.
It makes Alien even more strange. Well, so much for the teeth.
The only one to me that looks like, well, I guess the left and the right could be, any of them could, other than Alien, in my opinion. But I don't think that's the case. I think I just don't think that's the case. But what your question before was?
Gameplay-wise, who's going to show?
Oh, yeah.
Because Bo Rai Cho might be a good reason to bring back.
Out of the choices, or just anybody that could come back?
Out of the 6 we've listed.
The one that I think would have the coolest gameplay is, by far and none, Noob Saibot, or Smoke. That's my opinion, because their moves have the most flashy wow factor to me, and I think they could do a lot with the new engine. But with that said, that doesn't mean those are the ones, like, obviously I would choose Cyrax, because, well, the Cyborgs in general, I think, could really benefit from the new engine, the new updated graphics, and the new updated technology, as well as the variations, because it could really expand their moveset. But, that goes with anybody. I feel like you can do a lot with Fujin anyways. That's why I want so badly for Cyrax to be in this game, was because they've done so many of the characters so well in this game. Because I remember when the game was coming out and they would reveal the trailers, there wasn't really any person that didn't really wow me. Kano's trailer wowed me because I was just like, man, everything looks just so good. Kung Lao's trailer wowed me. Katana looked really, really good. There wasn't any character that I just thought, meh. So, I don't know. I was blown away by all the returnee characters on how upgraded they looked and different they looked. So, that's why I want these characters to be who they are, like, to be these specific characters, because there's so much you can do with them, and their gameplay has so much room to grow with the variation system. And we may not see that come back. So I feel like if we don't see it come back and we don't get these characters that we really want, then that really sucks.
And Razor was going off on variations again, so I wanted to bring that up the next episode. I will never stop defending variations. I still think they're brilliant. People are trying to treat them like they're a counterpicking tool, and that's not what they're for, in my opinion. But so yeah, that'll be fun next week. I don't know what the schedule is now that the news is coming out. I don't know if we're still going to go bi-weekly. We're still talking about that, guys. But I do want to say, though, it does bear mentioning, the only trailer I think both you and me weren't wowed by was Reptiles. I think it's the only one where we were just kind of like...
Yeah. And that's because I felt like, out of all the characters, they took the easy way out. They gave them a bunch of specials, but then they had everything stay the same between each version and then gave them the gimmicks per version, which I was not a fan of. I think if you would have made his moveset a bunch of acid-based moves, a bunch of force ball, and I'm repeating myself, but I thought that would have been the cooler way to go. And it's how every other character went. There were thematic versions of each variation, and they had different specials, and they took like the idea of one special and really expanded upon it. So, I don't know. But
well, yeah, it's just funny looking back on that trailer, because what everyone was talking about after they saw the trailer wasn't even Reptile. They were talking about the intro quote for Kung Lao. Like, that was the winner of the trailer.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
That's still a great quote. Like, I still giggle at that, but I don't know. Gosh, I think one of the biggest criticisms of the Netherkast is that we're overly negative. And it feels bleak, though, it's bleak. It's a symptom of having such a different vision of MK than I think the developers do,
Yeah.
But I try to give them points when I can. I try to like the things I like, with variations. One of my biggest criticisms of every MK game, really every fighting game, is that if I love the character, but I don't love the style, then it's a dud, But I can pick my style now. That's the real cool thing about variations. But
we should talk about one more thing, because character-wise, we pretty much covered who we think the possibilities are, and who we want to see if it is those possibilities. But one last thing we should talk about is if we're getting a Kombat Pack 2, what do you think the price point's going to be, and what else do you think is going to be included in it?
I was thinking about that. I think it's going to be $20.
You think it's going to be $20? Okay, we're gonna.
You can't do $30 again. That'd be bullshit.
No, and that's why when you said I hope there's an ultimate version, and it doesn't have to be like a $60 or $40 game. It could be like $20 download or whatever. I was just thinking to myself, the one flaw I see in that is they charged us $30 for 4 costume packs and 4 characters. So that doesn't bode well for six more characters on top of that, plus costumes or arenas, and getting it at like $20-$25. I didn't think that was
only $10 cheaper than Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Think about that for a second.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. They charged a little expensive with that $30. I feel like.
Well, that's what I was mentioning earlier, dude. Like, if we pick these final 4, would you buy it? And my answer is, if it's Noob, Alien, Fujin, and Rain, the answer is no.
I would buy individually. Yeah, I would buy individually. I would wait, obviously. I mean, I think logically and obviously, I shouldn't have to say, but some people will call people out on this, but we would wait to see their gameplay before we would make a judgment whether we bought the characters. But with that said, if Noob looked really good and Fujin looked really good, I'd buy those 2 and skip out on Rain and Alien.
Fujin's a 50-50. I would not buy Noob. I would not buy Bo. I would not buy Rain. Because my main is now Shinnok and Cryomancer. Probably leaning towards Cryomancer these days. I have my mains. I don't have time to learn more characters. I'm working a 40-hour work week, going back to grad school. I can't. There's no time anymore, man. And not to mention, like, the Netherkast is better now, but this used to be like an 8-hour week commitment. Like,
yeah, when we're covering everything.
A lot of time.
I think the most I ever put into 1 week was 20 hours. That's just that's a part-time job.
It's work. It's definite work. I mean, we enjoy every minute of it. And I especially enjoy this. I love interacting with the chat, you know?
Yeah. Adam Wilson said he's predicting $25 for 4 characters, the pit, and 2 skins. And if that's the case, that's just outrageous. Because all things considered, you're paying an extra $55 if you take the first DLC pack in mind for essentially $55 for 8 more characters, 1 more arena, and 18 more skins, and then the occasional free skins that go with it. So, yeah, that's not
more skins for sure. 2 skins doesn't sound like enough. What's up, Charles? How you doing, bro?
That is not a good deal, considering a $60 game got you 25 characters, all with alternate costumes, and a full story mode and all the other game modes you're getting. So the total package of the starting game, the DLC should not counteract that. It should be along a similar idea. That's why the $15 for 4 characters from MK9 was reasonable, because you're getting each character for less than essentially $5. But yeah, if they go, I feel like the DLC, if it's 20. It can't be any more than $20, I feel like. And if it is $20, it needs to come with a lot more than just 4 characters and a couple skins in an arena. I think they need to put either a couple more arenas in there or a lot more skins in there.
A lot more skins. 2 skins.
Because you're still paying $50.
It's a ballpark number, but
because you're still paying $50 for. All things considered, all things said and done, $50 for way less than the actual initial game got you. So that's makes you wonder if their reasoning for charging so much for DLC is, well, it takes the manpower to create these things, it takes resources. Well, then how'd you sell the initial game for $60? Because by your estimates for DLC, then the original game should have been like $200. So yeah.
Yeah, and Golden Nexus. On the far right, if you don't look at the Brighton silhouette, it still looks like Rain to me. Like, it looks like 100% Rain.
But you kind of the Brighton silhouette outlines that character perfectly, though. I feel like.
Rain or Bo?
The one on the right and the left. I think the one on the right and the left benefit most from the brightened up, because in the original darkened version, I can't make out shit. Like I don't know. I'll throw that up real quick and put that on the chat for a little bit. But I just can't see anything through it. I don't know. I mean, you see very, very vague silhouettes, but I feel like that's kind of like you're only getting half the image, so it's tough to make character predictions like that. There, now it's updated.
The thing is, Adam Wilson, is if we get these 4 characters, and Rain being in because of despite Ed Boon saying he's not going to charge us twice for DLC, that will be on the bottom of the list of things I'm mad about. Like, I'll be so upset to begin with. Because of Alien, I can't stress that enough. Alien by itself is already just nerve-wracking for me, and even for you, Cyborg, who is, on principle, is accepting and even appreciating of guest characters. Even that drives you nuts, you know?
Well, it's because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like I said, if they're going to do 3 guest characters, which I think at most I'd ever want is 2 anyways, and that's somebody, like I said, that's somebody that's more accepting to guest characters. The most I'd ever want is 2 in one game. So this is already breaking that, but the reason why it bothers me even more so, other than the fact that I think it's already outrageous to bring a 3rd character in, is it bothers me so much because I do not like the roster. I think the roster picks were really questionable, as is.
Yeah.
I thought the Kombat Pack 1 picks were questionable. Take the guest characters aside. Tanya and Tremor both had their fan bases and whatnot, but I think Tanya should have made the game, and I don't know. My point is, the roster was not good.
Yeah,
so
it was pretty shitty.
Bringing 3 guest characters, so out of 8 DLC characters, you're going to make almost half of them guest characters, then you're not fixing the roster. To me, I feel like the biggest problem with people with this roster is it didn't do enough to bring more oddballs from the past back or give more people second chances from the past back, and you didn't get enough fan favorite characters from like the trilogy era back. You didn't get your Cyrex, you didn't get a Noob, you didn't get a Smoke to really fill that desire. So I don't know, I think that's a waste. I think it is a big, giant waste, and I think that at this point, because I've defended them with guest characters, I see the need for them. One, I love the fantasy dream match aspect. I like the idea of playing characters that I wouldn't be able to play as otherwise. I don't have Jason to play as in any other game. You know, Kratos fits the dream match, but you can go play God of War if you want to play as Kratos. I can't play as Jason anywhere else. You couldn't play as Freddy anywhere else. So I understand the need for that, and there's cool crossovers like that. But, and I should also say, I'm a big Soul Calibur fan in that regard, because I liked guest characters in Soul Calibur. I thought that was really cool, dynamic to have. But with the roster being as shitty as it is, I feel like they're really, really going for a cash grab here.
Well, Calibur's also easier too. Well, I'm sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I'm all for them putting in a couple guest characters to draw more attention to the series, because I've used that reasoning before, is it brings more fans, it puts more eyes on the series. It'll be all over all the gaming websites. Any Freddy fan, Jason fan, or Kratos fan is going to check out MK, and if they like the game enough, they'll stick with it, and that brings more fans to the series, which brings more revenue to the series, which means bigger budgets for further games. I'm all okay with that. But when you go 3, now you're basically just saying, I care more about the fans we don't have than the fans we do have at that point. I feel like there is a line. Some people, don't like guest characters, and that's fine. They don't feel like there is a line that should be crossed, and it should always be about the MK fans. And that's okay. I'm not going to argue with that. But I feel like there is room for expansion and bringing more eyes on the series and having those fun things. But 3, I think you've crossed that line. 2 is already you're saddling up against that line. 3 is just like you're like, fuck you, I'm stepping over the line.
In those words, exactly. But it's easier for Soul Calibur. It's so much harder for MK, because in Soul Calibur, up till the 5th installment, almost all the characters came back. So it was never a problem. It was never this, this scramble for everyone trying to get their favorite character. If you like Soul Calibur, the odds are your favorite character is coming back in the next one. And when it finally didn't happen, and they finally revamped the roster, the game bombed. So,
yeah, Smokin', see, you said with a full roster of 75 plus characters in the catalog, you're never going to get a perfect roster. See,
Well, we got a special forces roster.
You're
That's what
never.
we got.
There's no such thing as perfect in anything in life. So I feel like that. Yeah, I agree with you there. But my point is, if you were saying that statement to like disagree that it's just that's pie in the sky talk that there's ever going to be a really amazing roster or perfect roster, but perfect obviously isn't attainable. My point was the roster we got was not ideal. I don't think for anyone. I mean, I shouldn't say anyone because there's obviously going to be people that love the roster, but I don't think it scratched the itch and appealed to the most it could have. I should say that it could have been better. There could have been more. There should have been 2 more 3D era characters to scratch that itch. There should have been at least 1 more trilogy character that was a fan favorite to make that list. And then in the DLC, have 2 guest characters, call it a day, and then have the rest be the ones that the fan are demanding the most. And I think we'd instantly have a better roster.
I think you can deconstruct it further and create standards. I mean, ask the philosophical question. What is a good roster? I would say one thing, it's one that represents Mortal Kombat throughout history.
Right?
And Mortal Kombat 3 only got 1 character represented. I think that's bullshit right there.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 4 only got 1 character represented pre-DLC. 1 character from Deadly Alliance and no one from Deception. I think that's piss poor. And the Special Forces dominated the roster. I mean, yes, you're right, there's no perfect roster, but is that what people wanted, a Special Forces roster? It's hard to... I have no statistic. I have no data. I can only go off what I've read on forums, in chats, on podcasts. Eris has been blowing up the roster since before the game came out. But
he clarified... I do want to say, Smoke and C clarified, saying, no, I'm saying that more than half the characters are always going to be left out, whether that's trilogy, 3D era, new characters, etc. And yes, you're correct with that. More than half will always be left out. But look back through history. If you took out the mocaps, the meats, the Shivas, yeah, and I know Shiva has her fans and whatnot, but I'm just saying, if you take the ones that are the least popular characters from MK1 through MK Armageddon or whatever, you can cut the fat, so to speak, and have at least 20, 25 of those eliminated, and then you're dealing with only, say, 35, 40 characters that you're striving to get in there. And those are the ones, yes, you're going to have bummers left out, but then there's always the next game. We're not saying have every character we want in there. It's just a matter of the roster we got just wasn't ideal for a lot of fans, in my opinion. I don't think it scratched the itch for a lot of people, and I don't think it appealed to enough of a diverse roster. The fact that we got 8 Special Forces characters and 8 new characters, and then so many guest characters on top of that, I would not say that was ideal. I think a more ideal approach would have been cut back the new characters to 5 or 4, and then fill the rest of those with the, put 2 and 2 from the 3D era, and 2 more. If you put 2 more from the 3D era, say you got your Fujin from the get-go, and you got, say, a Havoc or a Lee May or Serena in there, and then you took 2 from the Trilogy era, and you got a Cyrax or Noob or Smoke in there, just hypothetical, you could put anybody else in there that's really popular. I think we would have been way better off from the get-go at the start of this game. And then in DLC, you could have further fixed that further. And I know, yes, they needed 8 new characters because they wanted to push something new and the whole family thing, but they could have wrote whatever story they could have written whatever story they wanted to tell. So they didn't need all those. I mean, did Ferritor was that really a necessary character? And I like Ferritor, but in MKX, was Ferritor really a necessary character? You got to ask yourself that. Yes or no?
Was Black really a necessary character?
No, neither of them were really necessary characters because they didn't get enough screen time to warrant them being there. Devora and the 4 kids in Kotal were the only ones that actually got the screen time and the exposure to warrant their inclusion. So that already changes 8 to 6. Take those 2 character spots that you opened up, get Fujin in there, and get a Tanya in there, or whatever, or a Cyrax or anything, but they could have done better. Yeah. They could have done better. That's all I'm saying is they could have done better.
I feel like they could have done a better theme, because there is a logic to the roster. There's a definite logic, but the theme of the roster was Special Forces. I don't know why we couldn't have had a better theme, because we're at the point where anyone can be an NPC. You don't have to build the roster around the story. And they especially, I mean, clearly they did not build the roster around the story. Liu Kang's in it, Kung Lao's in it.
Yeah, and that's another.
His costume's not even canon. His main primary is not even fucking canon. So
yeah, you can't make an argument to have Kung Lao in this game. I mean, Kung Lao's great. I do like Kung Lao. I'm not knocking Kung Lao at all, or his popularity, or his deservingness to be in the game. But what was the mindset of including a Kung Lao over a Smoke? He didn't serve any other role that Smoke didn't serve, other than the brief appearance he was when he was his younger self on the docks. But I mean, okay, then don't have him fight in that scene. Big deal. It's like all the kids. If you had the 4 kids in there and say Jackie, I'll just throw out an example, wasn't playable, she could have still been part of the story mode, still been there, and then either show up in MK11 or show up as DLC, which, yeah, I know that, swapping out who's in the roster and making DLC isn't really helping anything, but my point is, I feel like they tried too hard to put too many new characters, expanding the overall roster amount that we, like the 60 plus characters we already have, making it even bigger, which, I mean, of course we're 2 people, me and Temp and I, whatever, are people that didn't want nearly as many new characters as we got. Temp probably didn't want any. I thought cutting it off at 4...
3 would have been fair. I think 3 to 5, 3 would have been healthy. 5 would have been a compromise. 5 would have been like, all right, you guys want new characters. I'm an old man. I do not. But you know what? I think 5 is fair. I think that pleases everyone.
Right. 5, if they would have cut it off at 5, they could use the extra 3 for these characters that we're all striving for, and that way the DLC could have been better handled. And I do want to shout out again, Smoke NC said they had 26 spots. The fact that they used the 26th spot for a random select was dumb. It would have opened up a spot with Fujin or Rain. I honestly believe that...
I do agree with that, though, but yeah.
No, I agree with that 100%, but I think the reason why they did that is probably... I think we're all in agreement that Tanya was likely supposed to be in that 26th spot, and she just wasn't finished in time. I bet you that was the case. That's my opinion.
I think that's plausible. I think that's extremely plausible.
She was probably halfway done. They couldn't get her done, so they kept it as a random select, and then they just
also
put her up.
So sexual.
Put her up as DLC.
But I mean, that I can believe that
because they had 20.
What's going to be a 20?
Yeah, they had 25 characters. What do you do at that point? So they're like, okay, we'll just have a random select here. And if she's done, she's done. We'll change it to her. If she's not, then we'll just put her out as DLC. So that's probably what they did.
Because she's in the game. Like, she's clearly an important character in the game who you end up fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she was... The fact that she was going to be in MK9 as DLC and she didn't make it or whatever it was, and she's one of Ed's favorites, I think she was probably... And her role in this story mode, I think it's very likely she was supposed to be on the initial roster. But... I don't know. It's just frustrating because that's my biggest problem with this game is the roster, and that's why I'm so scared because the Kombat Pack one did nothing for me. I mean, I got Jason, but at the end of the day, I am an MK fan first and foremost, and they didn't do anything in the initial roster to please me. And I know I don't speak for everyone. Obviously, there's Tanya fans that got what they wanted, and I'm happy for them, or Tremor fans that got what they wanted, and I'm happy for them, but for me, and I'm a pretty open-minded person, for me, the characters that we've gotten so far on this roster and in the Kombat Pack 1 have not done enough to make me... This is not going to go down as one of the greatest rosters in MK history at all. It's going to go down as one of the worst, and that's fucking disappointing.
Is there a worst one? Like, I can't think of anything worse than MKX's. I should probably clarify.
In hindsight, MK3 was probably the worst at the time. Not in hindsight, but I mean... At the time, that was probably the worst, because you had a ton of new characters, you didn't even have Scorpion, if we're counting basic MK3. So, I mean, there was a lot of weird choices.
Well, I love all those new characters, though, and that's something I want to clarify.
Right.
I don't hate the new characters because they're new. I actually really liked Aaron Black before the game came out. I dislike him because of what he ended up being in the story. Devora had so much going against her, and the story kind of sealed that, unfortunately. I actually have a soft spot for Ferritor. I mean, if y'all guys remember episode 2 of the Combat, or the... Shit, that was a Freudian slip. Of the Netherkast. I had a lot of good things to say about Ferritor. They didn't live up. I want to like everything. I want to fucking love everything. I don't want to dislike anything out of the box. I don't do that. Like, I liked Kotal Khan coming out of the comic. Then they turned him into the dumbest piece of shit when the game came out.
The story definitely didn't do a lot of the characters any favors. Like, Ferritor was just a complete afterthought. Kotal was a lot less neutral at the end of the day. He didn't come off very intelligent at the end of the day. Devora was just your typical cliche betraying bitch, which is just so stupid. And the kids, a lot of them didn't do enough to sell themselves. That's why the only one I really still ended up enjoying was Cassie. The other ones I was just kind of meh. None of their personalities really made me think, oh my gosh, this is one of the greatest MK characters. They're all just they're all middle of the road. They're all average. And average isn't necessarily great at this point. If you're going to introduce new characters, they need to have something to really sell themselves, be different. And I don't know. That's why the kids are the kids, other than Cassie, but I mean, even if you lump Cassie in there, the kids are the least exciting of the new characters to me out of the 8. And that's why I think you could have gotten away with having them be a part of story without necessarily making them playable. We didn't need all of them playable, and if you cut back on some of those spots, you could have filled Rain in there, you could have filled Fujin in there, and you could have filled, I don't know, we've gone over this, but dear God, it's just...
It makes me sad, too, because some of the characters were almost there. Like, Takeda was almost there. The whole idea of, I'm Shiraryu now, you're not my father, Kenshi. You abandoned me, you abandoned my mother, I hate you. That's really interesting. They could have done something cool with that. And they resolve it, I think, in the span of, 18 seconds? That plotline is done, and we never visit it again? It's... And the idea of Kenshi, sort of like doing rehab on Scorpion after he got out of hell and kind of bringing him back to to his sanity, that's really interesting. We saw shit of that. So, I mean, so many characters were almost there. Jackie, I think Jackie was kind of shit out of the box because... The whole, I want to do whatever I want despite what my father tells me. We've seen that so many times.
Yeah.
And it still didn't really even go anywhere. It's just Jax says, I don't want my daughter in the Special Forces. Jackie, I want to be in the Special Forces. And then just whatever. Then the plot happens. And Aaron Black is by far the biggest disappointment. Because he's so cool. He's such a badass, but he didn't make decisions. He didn't have...
He didn't
do anything.
He didn't live up to his potential, and he didn't have nearly the screen presence or exposure that he should have. That's my point, and I think that's both of our points, is if you're going to introduce new characters, you got to sell us on them in the 5-hour story mode. And yes, I agree with the people in the chat. The chapter system in MK doesn't work for that reason, because it's all about... We got to make sure this character is playable here, this character is playable here, and you build your story system around that, and that does not work. You could have had at least 2 of those kids non-playable, and they should have gone through story just fine. They could have been there, and everything would have been just great. And it would have been and Ferritor could have been there, just not playable. How much more... I feel like Ferritor and Aaron Black would have came out of this game with so much more hype rather than disappointment had they not been playable here, but they were in story mode, making cameos, and then in the next game people would have been like, "Ooh, I really want that character. I really want that Ferritor character. It looks really badass. Give me that character." But in here they just felt like they were slapped on and they were just an afterthought. And that's not selling us on new characters. That's just that's giving us more Dairus and not Dagon, but Tavens and all that bullshit. It's just giving us more characters that we're probably never going to see again, and that's disappointing to me.
There is a dark perspective to that, though, because there's the fear that people may want a character just on the principle that they can't have him. It's like, I want to play as Ferritor just because he wasn't playable, and I want to play as him. It's the child pointing at the toy set through the window.
But at least it's not taking up a roster spot.
But
it will...
On the positive/negative side, at least we got it over with.
Right. But no, to me, that's not... I don't like that, because that means we got it over with, and now we have another character that's part of MK history that everyone still has their fans. Ferritor, I still like Ferritor, and if they never come back, I'm just going to be like, why did you introduce that character? Why were they playable? Just have the character be there in the background doing the same exact thing. Just don't make them playable. It could have been okay. You could have put anybody else in that spot, and they would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
There was no... It's not... For me, it's not a get them out of the way. It's like, make them not playable, and I'd rather see that demand and then become playable at a later point where they actually can put the emphasis, the story emphasis, and focus behind that character to make them better. Just having them be an afterthought in story mode and gameplay-wise and all that does nothing for me, because then it's just like that spot could have gone to your... That spot could have been filled by somebody else, or just not have that role in the story at all. They create the story. They can build the story around whatever characters they want to. They could have had a whole... They could have cut like 5 scenes from that story mode and built up a Lin Kuei battle and had that be a thing and put Sector and Cyrax in here. But they didn't. And Smoke in here, or they did put Smoke, but I mean they could have had Smoke be one of the playable revenants instead of Kung Lao. I mean that's my point. It's just it doesn't make any sense. I just don't get it. They wanted.
I think it may make
I don't. They should not. Like I said, the roster is my main sticking point with this, and DLC is not helping. And they should not have had 8 playable new characters. Cut it at 5 and introduce the other new characters as background characters. It's perfectly okay. I don't know. That's my
I think
opinion.
it makes sense that there's a hidden drama behind it all, which being is they were going to give Ferritor more screen time. They were going to give Aaron Black sort of his own story arc, and they ran out of time. Story mode looks incomplete when I play it. It just doesn't look done. So I think it was never the intention to snuff these characters the way they did. I don't think that was ever what they intended. I think they were going to explain the motives behind Devora's actions, but we got a story mode that was substantially shorter than the previous one, with a lot of holes in it and a lot of really shallow character appearances. So I think that's why it turned out the way they did. I think in hindsight, they probably would go with your route. Which honestly, I would go with your route as well.
They
if
just
I knew
need,
what characters they were going to put in instead.
yeah.
That makes sense.
They need to abandon the story concept as it is, anyways. They need to come up with a different way, because Horseplay brings up another good point, and that's that the biggest problem. Well, I wouldn't say it's the biggest problem, but he said the biggest problem with story mode is that you can't play as the bad guys, which automatically makes them all jobbers. And that's true. We didn't have that so bad in this game, because if I remember right, you could play as Kodal, and they're not necessarily bad guys, but they're neutral. You could play as Devora before she made her little bad guy turn, but he makes a solid point. The bad guys always lose, and not only that, it's all predictable. Each fight you have is predictable, because you already know who the character you're playing as is going to win. That takes away the drama of it. Why? Story mode should just be done differently. The biggest problem is, at the end of the day, the bottom line is story mode is used as a tool to get you to try each character and to get used to each character, and that is absolute horseshit. It should not be a training mode. They have training mode for that reason, and if they want more emphasis on people should just, if they don't want to try new characters, then fuck it. Who cares? Try who you want to try, but don't build your story around that concept. We could have a story where you play as Sub-Zero one round, and play as Scorpion the next, then play as Kung Lao the next, and play as blah 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 the next, and that's okay. I think it's okay. You're there to witness the story. You're not there to try out every individual fucking character in a 3-fight. You do 3 fights and then you switch. You do 3 fights, then you switch. You do 3 fights, then you... Fuck that. That's stupid. That's a horrible way to set the groundwork for your story mode to be built around. That just makes the story mode predictable, and you're shoehorning story... Or you're shoehorning... You know what the fuck I'm trying to say. I'm so annoyed.
No, I got you. It's forced.
It's forced, thank you. It's contrived, it's forced, and that's stupid. And I love that they try and do a story mode, and I wouldn't change that, but I would change how they tell their story, because they've done it since DC, and they don't need to do it that way anymore. It could be so much better. The story could be told so much better if you just play as... I'd take a fucking 2-hour movie that I just sit and watch instead of fucking story mode. You know?
Well, I had to play that shit twice, so yeah, absolutely.
Like, if we could just watch a 2-hour, basically, cutscene and not play play through story mode at all, I'd much rather take that if it's a 2-hour, like, animated movie in a sense that they actually have a beginning, middle, and end planned out, and you're not just following the same character for 3 fights and then switch. Because then we're still getting our story fix. We still get a 2-hour cutscene fix of what's happening in this game, and then we can go on and fucking play multiplayer if we want to actually play the characters. So I don't know, that would be my fucking preference if they can't find a way to make actually playing through story work.
All right, well, I gotta close shop pretty soon here.
Yeah,
but,
we'll wrap this up.
I do want to see, do you guys have any KP2 questions before we jet? I'll give the stream time to catch up, of course. I don't see myself buying this shit. Like, Fujin's one of my favorite characters. He's like probably like number 4 for me. He's really up there. Like right beneath Sindel, so I really like Fujin.
You can just get one person. Let's not forget about that.
Well, I play as them though, and
yeah,
there's so little time.
See,
I'm not gonna main the character. Then yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always buy the DLC, but because I like to play, I like to try every character. But the fact that I only tried Tremor once, Predator once, Tanya once, and granted, everyone knows I don't really play Mortal Kombat very much at all anymore anyways, which is a shame, and I was hoping this would be the thing that brings me back in, gets me interested again. So for me, I don't want to drop the money down if I know I'm only going to try them once, and these characters are not characters I want to play as. So that's a damn shame. I'll try them in the tower for free, because they'll have a preview tower, I'm sure. I'll try them then, but...
Alright, we've got a couple of questions here. Do we want an MK4 Shinnok skin as much as Smokeman does? Shinnok's costumes are so good that I'd be okay. I love his Jersey Devil costume. It's grown on me a lot. I love his Elder God costume. Wrathful, I think is what it's called. They're perfection to me. They're just best of both worlds. I love Shinnok with exposed arms. Don't ask me why. I love, Wrathful's the one I use in tournaments, so... probably not for much longer. I'm pretty much dropping Shinnok at this point. But, I'd be okay. It'd be cool. I wouldn't say no to it, but I think I'm all right. Cyborg, you want to take the next question or follow up?
Yep. Which one did you just answer? Who was the name? I missed the name.
Smokeman was
Smokeman. Okay, I got it. Okay, the next one would be... How soon do you think we can play these characters? I think it's going to be very... And that was from Jack Phils. It would have been... I'm predicting it's going to be very similar to Kombat Pack 1. I think they're just going to continue going in about the same amount of time. So I think from the Kombat Pack 1 announcement, which is on March 13th, Friday the 13th, of course, was... No, that's not when they announced the pack. That's when they announced Jason. But the pack was announced, I think, within the next week after that. Or, yeah, it was the next week that they announced it. So, and Jason came out 2 weeks after initial launch, 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So I'd say it's fair to think that after the announcement tomorrow, it'll probably be about a month before we see the first character. Maybe at the very least, it's going to be 2 weeks. I'd say that very least 2 weeks.
I can't say when the first one will come out, but I imagine the last one would come out in December. That's my best guess.
Yeah, I think there's going to be 2 or 3 weeks. All right, there'll probably be a 3-week gap between each character. Is about the time frame between the characters in the Kombat Pack 1, so I'd expect that. Go ahead.
All right, for the next question, what are you doing, chat? Okay, it's all friggin' out.
Yeah.
If they were to put in... Oh, fuck me. What?
It moves on you. I know, that's why I was struggling before.
If they were to put in a big surprise, whether it's a character stage skin, what would tip the scale for you?
Who did that?
All, that was from Adam Wilson.
Okay.
Well, Adam... First of all, no stage is going to sell me. Stage has always been icing on the cake for me. I like stages, but it's all about the character, the story, and the gameplay. Not necessarily in that order. So, skin, that's when we start... Skin is not icing. Skins are important. I would say we need deception, and we need certain classic alts. Oh, wait, my roommate's calling over.
That's fine. I'll take over.
Cyborg, take over from here, dude.
Yep. If they were to put in a big surprise, whether it is a character stage skin, what would tip the scale for you? Temp was saying something about stages not being as important to him. Obviously, characters for him are going to be the big kit and caboodle. That's his main focus as a competitive player, and I agree with that. Stages come second between character, and then skin comes skins are nice for variety, but I'd take a stage over a skin just so I have something cool to look at. I'm more the artsy guy. That's kind of my thing. I just got my bachelor's degree in graphic design, so art and design. If you remember leading up to the game, the stages for me were a big. I love to analyze the stages. I like the looks of them, so they're really cool. And we only have 12 in this game, which really sucks, especially because one of them's a training stage. But I would much rather it be a character, then stage, then skin. I would put it in that order. And if it was a surprise, as in if you're asking if the surprise is one of those things or each of those things, a big surprise character for me would be Cyrax, and that would absolutely tip the scales for me. I would buy Cyrax in a heartbeat and start playing the game again. If it was a stage, no, it wouldn't tip the scale for me, just a stage. The pit would be nice, and I think we're all expecting that, or another classic stage would be cool, but that's not going to make me buy the DLC if they put in a couple stages that I think look neat. I'm not going to buy it, because if I'm not playing the game anyways, the stages don't really mean anything to me, and the skins have the least impact on me. I will appreciate skins, but to me those are like nice little bonus extras. Those are like the appetizers, but they're not the full course meal. They're the sizzle, they're not the steak.
I think they're game changers. They're not on the same level as characters, but the difference between like human Cyrax and well, that's a bad example. That's straight up unfair.
Yeah,
the difference between Sub-Zero and Sub-Shredder is that makes you want to play the character in a way I would never want to play the character before. So
that's fair.
Is important.
That's fair. Yeah.
Just to follow up, I'm pretty much with Cyborg, Mike. If Li Mei is in Kombat Pack 2, I'm going to Evo. You can put that on record right now. I'll use my bonus from work. I will go to Evo. Not even joking.
No, I believe you. There's seemingly no way that's happening at this point, which sucks.
All the weekends in July so I could watch Evo. Like I'm that dedicated. So yes, I will be there. We got time for one more, guys, because unfortunately I got to meet up with some friends in a second. I just found out. Oh god.
Let's go with who would you put? I think this is probably the most conversational
good
one.
Way to finish up.
Yeah, Horseplay asks, just for fun, who would you pick for a Kombat Pack 3? Say we're going under the assumption that we're getting Fujin, Sector, Alien for sure, because they're absolutely... Those are the rumored, and I think we're all under the impression that those are the three. We're just undecided on the fourth. So let's not even name the fourth. So that way let's just say those three characters are in Kombat Pack 2, and then we're just going to pick four that we put in Kombat Pack 3. I would put, personally, Cyrax, Serena and Li Mei, and Smoke. That's four. And I'm obviously biased because I'm choosing all four that we're all rooting for.
Yeah.
At the Netherkast, those are the four that we all favor because each other favors them. And I just like those characters. I want to see Serena. I want to see Li Mei. And I like the idea of including two females for once. I want to see Cyrax, who's my favorite. And I would Smoke, obviously, is a big favorite as well. So those would be my four.
If Smoke's not in this one, but I'm praying, dude. You said it. That Serena, Li Mei, Smoke, Cyrax, we're done.
Yeah.
That's it. I could not have said it fucking better myself.
If there was any wiggle room, I think we're both in agreement that someone like a Havoc or a Raiko you could throw in there as well, just to.
I would put Astro over Raiko, to be honest with you, but yes.
I would agree with that, but maybe since the comic and the whatnot, maybe it got him a little bit more attention and fans. But Astra to me has a different look, and I just like the classy lady look. It's just so different from what we've gotten, and I think her powers could totally use a lot of expansion and overhaul to give her a lot more to work with, which would be really neat. But anyways, that'll do it for us. I think we're both in agreement. Kombat Pack 3 would be those four characters. And yeah, thank you guys for watching very much. We definitely appreciate it. We were actually deciding whether we're going to stream this or just record it. I was originally just going to record it, so I'm glad we streamed because the responses from you guys, the interaction from you guys, that definitely made this 10 times better. It made us go 10 times longer. But it's good. It's good. I think this is probably one of our best actual video streams that we've done because of that. And it was fun to break down. Tomorrow we're going to have to do the exact same thing, but it won't be so much speculation as much as
work tomorrow, so I'll do
right.
the exact same thing for like 30 minutes. But yes,
right. It won't be like this. It'll be more. It depends when it comes out. Basically, hopefully, if it comes out around noon and Temp wants to wake up in time, then we'll have ourselves a little 10-minute, 15-minute reaction video. If not, it'll have to wait till later. But either way, you'll get a reaction video, and you're going to get a reaction video from me right away, which that'll be fun because today I was just pretty accepting of everything and just kind of like showing hesitation for things. But tomorrow it's going to be based on their looks and it's set in stone. So
we're positive.
I'll try and make it a funny rant if anything, but at this point I've kind of accepted it more than shocked. There's no shock value of Alien at this point. Now it's pretty much like alright, well anyways.
I want to say though, like, it really is a blast talking to you guys. I want to do this more. I love answering questions in the stream. Thank you guys so much for joining us, all 16 of you. We really do appreciate it. Like, really, it's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, and I should show this real quick because it's cool. My Jason mask I painted on a head. A real head. Not really though. Can't tell if that's in camera because it hasn't updated yet. I should probably look into the program. But yeah,
I'm looking at the stream now, so
it's actually a replica mold of the original Part 3 mask. So they made it from the Part 3 mask, like a mold from it. So it's actual realistic specs, but then it was a blank white mask that I beat the shit out of and whatnot and weathered with paint and whatnot. So I like it. I dig it. But anyways, that is completely irrelevant. But I just saw it in the background because I put it there. But anyways, thank you guys once again. And on that note, we are out and we'll see you tomorrow. Let's all cross our fingers. But I think we should set our expectations low on the whole Alien thing. But the other ones are still a little bit up in the air, so we'll see. And that'll do it. Adios, guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care.